bills are set to be tabled for the first time before the floor. The first one is the Sports Amendment Bill, Senate Bill number 40 of 2021 by Senator Aaron Cheriot. Senator Kipchumba Murkomen will be tabling the Election Amendment Bill, Senate Bill number 42 of 2021, and Senator Ledama Olekina will be tabling the Election Amendment Bill number 2, Senate Bill number 3 of 2021. The House will equally be resuming debate on the Law of Succession Amendment Bill. It is a bill by Senator Abshiro Halake. The Chairperson Standing Committee on Matters Finance and Budget will be moving a motion. This is on the adoption of the report of that particular committee on matters to do with the county government's cash disbursement schedule. This is for the financial year 2021-2022 and the approval of the county government's cash disbursement schedule for the financial year 2021-2022. Another motion the members will be deliberating on is the adoption of the report by the Standing Committee on Matters Devolution as well as Intergovernmental Relations. This is in regarding the impasse of the budgetary estimates for the financial year 2020-2021. This is for the Kirinyaga County between the county executive and the county assembly. Senator Sylvia Kasanga will be moving a motion on the fast tracking of the cultural developments. This is in the 47 county assemblies. Senator Abdullahi Ali, the senator for Wajir County. The Senate will equally be deliberating on his motion on the parking charges in public institution offering essential services. The business of the House is just about to commence with the entry of various officers and the Speaker of the Senate, that is Deputy Speaker Professor Margaret Kamar, has just stepped into the chamber. I'll now hand you over for the live broadcast. Enjoy your viewing. Good afternoon.
Prayer. Almighty God, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor and blessings as your servants whom you have been pleased to call to leadership positions in this republic. We seek guidance to treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberations in so just and faithful a manner as to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you have committed to our church. Amen.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Honorable Senators, please walk in. So, Honorable Senators, I have 3 communications to make. The first communication is on the commencement of Part 5 of the 5th session of the Senate. Honorable Senators, I take this opportunity to welcome you all back to the regular sittings of the House. Part 5 of the 5th session commences today and will run until Thursday, 21st October 2021. It is my hope that you have taken time during the recess period to rest and reconnect with your constituents, families, and friends. Honorable Senator, please take your seat. Honorable Senators, afford me a few minutes to recognize and commend you all for the tremendous dedication to duty that you each demonstrated in the preceding part of this session. Respective committees dispensed with numerous petitions and tabled reports. I take this opportunity to single out the Standing Committee on Lands, Environment, and Natural Resources, which by far had the highest number of petitions for honoring the call to duty and dispensed with 12 petitions and tabled reports pursuant to Standing Order 2322. 5 bills were passed on the 5th August 2021 and referred to the National Assembly pursuant to Standing Order 156. Senator, please take your seat. This notwithstanding, I hasten to point out that the term for this August House is fast coming to an end, and there is still a high number of bills, petitions, motions, and statements before us. As we begin the 5th part of this session, I urge all honorable senators to take time to assess how we have undertaken our constitutional mandate collectively as the Senate, as members of the select committees, and individually as senators representing counties or specifically or specially elected. At the end of the term of the 12th Parliament, what will be the legacy of the that Senate? That is a question that should be at the back of our minds. Honorable Senators, the broader outlook of business in this part and the next of the Senate calendar projects a session that will be heavy with bills. There are 12 bills due for consideration at the Committee of the Whole stage, 20 at the second reading stage, 4 due for first reading, and another 24 undergoing concurrence pursuant to Article 110(3) of the Constitution. Senator, please take your seat. Honorable Senators, I appeal to the sponsors of the said bills, the movers of the amendments, to avail themselves once they are scheduled on the order paper in order for the Senate to dispense with them expeditiously. Other business already before the Senate include 13 motions, 47 petitions, before respective standing committees, and statements pursuant to Standing Orders 47 and 48. In this part of the calendar, we will also be expecting chairpersons of respective standing committees to make reports pursuant to Standing Order 51(1)(b). Honorable Senator, please take your seat. With respect to the financial matters, the timelines for processing of the budget of the financial year 2022-2023 have been altered in view of the upcoming general elections. Therefore, the budget policy statement, division of revenue bill, and the county allocation of revenue bill for the next financial year are now projected to be submitted to Parliament for consideration and approval by the 30th November 2021. This will ultimately necessitate a reconfiguration of the schedule of business to accommodate approval of the budget policy statement and the finance bills within the required period. Honorable Senators, when the Senate proceeded on recess on the 5th of August 2021, we had bills pending considerations before respective committees as follows. A, one bill before the Standing Committee of Health. That's the Health Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 26 of 2020. B, one bill before the Standing Committee of Education. That's the Kenyan Sign Language Bill, Senate Bills number 5 of 2011. C, two bills before the Standing Committee on Labor and Social Welfare, the County Hall of Fame. One is the County Hall of Fame Bill, Senate Bills number 9 of 2021, and two, the Heritage and Museums Bill, Senate Bills number 22 of 2021. D, two bills before the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense, and Foreign Affairs. One, the Disaster Risk Management Bill, Senate Bills number 14 of 2021, and two, the Kenya Citizenship and Immigration Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 33 of 2021. E, four bills before the Standing Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs, and Human Rights. The law of one is the Law of Succession Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 15 of 2021. Two, the Preservation of Human Dignity and Protection of Economic and Social Rights Bill, Senate Bills number 21 of 2021. Three, the Alternative Dispute Resolution Bill, Senate Bills number 34 of 2021. And four, the Lifestyle Audit Bill, Senate Bills number 36 of 2021. F, one bill before the Standing Committee and National Cohesion, the Standing Committee on National Cohesion, Equal Opportunity, and Regional Integration. The bill is the National Cohesion and Peace Building Bill, Senate Bills number 19 of 2021. G, four bills before the Standing Committee on Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations. One, the County Boundaries Bill, Senate Bills number 20 of 2021. Two, the Intergovernmental Relations Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 37 of 2021. Three, the County Governments Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 38 of 2021. And four, the County Oversight and Accountability Bill, Senate Bills number 17 of 2021. H, one bill is before the Standing Committee on Agriculture, Livestock, and Fisheries. The bill is the Coconut Industry Development Bill, Senate Bills number 24 of 2021. I, two bills are before the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget. One, the County Government Grants Bill, Senate Bills number 35 of 2021, and two, the Public-Private Partnerships Bill, National Assembly Bill number 6 of 2021. Senators, please take your seats. Please take your seat, Senator, so I can proceed. Honorable Senators, I urge the respective committees to process these bills in line with the provisions of Article 118 of the Constitution and Standing Orders 145 and 143.1, and table reports thereon. You will all agree with me that the public participation processes enables broad consultations on a bill as committees engage key stakeholders to receive their views and incorporate them in making their report to the Senate. While the importance of this process cannot be gainsaid, I urge standing committees to also ensure that the legislative process proceeds to the next stage in a timely manner. Honorable Senators, as we all know, COVID-19 pandemic situation continues to persist globally and also here at home. As national leaders, we must prioritize the interests of the country and the safety of all citizens. Let us lead by example by observing the COVID-19 protocols at all times in both the plenary and in committee meetings. In this respect, I have asked the presiding officers in plenary and respective committee chairpersons to ensure adherence to these protocols. Honorable Senators, I reiterate my support to facilitate you in effectively discharging your constitutional mandate. Accordingly, I also reassure you that my office and that of the clerk of the Senate are at your disposal in this respect. I thank you, Senators. Honorable Senators, I have a second communication on the visit to the Senate by Ms. Kim C. Pan, Executive Director of the International Law Institute. Honorable Senators, I would like to acknowledge the presence in the Speaker's Gallery of Ms. Kim C. Pan, Executive Director of the International Law Institute. The International Law Institute, ILI, is an independent, non-political, non-profit educational institute serving a global constituency. ILI and its global affiliates has trained more than 39,000 participants from 186 countries in various areas including governance, trade, and investment law, and legislative management. The ILI mission is to foster prosperity through the rule of law, helping developing countries achieve economic growth through a sound legal framework. Honorable Senator, please take your seat. Honorable Senators, the Parliament of Kenya and specifically the Senate has partnered with and participated in ILI capacity building programs on leadership, legislative drafting, and legislative management. Among participants in such programs include the Senate leadership, the Liaison Committee, the Standing Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs, and Human Rights, and the Senate Board of Management. Ms. Kim Pan has served as the Executive Director of ILI for more than 15 years and is the course advisor for the ILI programs on leadership and management in international development, women in leadership, and legislative strategic management, among others. She also teaches a course on leadership and management at the University of California, Irvine Law School. She is the immediate past president and board member of the Friends of the Law Library of Congress. Honorable Senators, Ms. Kim Pan is visiting the Senate for continued engagements and collaborations between ILI and the Senate. We welcome Ms. Pan to the Senate and wish her a pleasant stay and fruitful engagement for the remainder of her stay in Kenya. May I request Senators, in our usual manner, to welcome Ms. Pan as she stands. I thank you, Senators. Senators, please take your seats. Okay, I'll allow only 2 members to join me in appreciating and welcoming Ms. Kim Pan. I will start with Senator Makori Beatrice Kwamboga.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Let me join you to welcome Madam Khan, the ALI Executive Director. Indeed, I'm one of the members who are trained there at Washington, D.C. We've learned a lot, come to leadership skills. Madam Khan, welcome to Kenya, Nairobi. This is where we normally conduct our business, and you are mostly warm welcomed here. And Madam Khan, the work that you are doing in Washington, D.C., training the leaders in different countries, it's worth. Because once we are back here to our country, we demonstrate whatever we learned there. And thank you for coming. You're welcomed.
Thank you, Senator Kwamboka. I will now allow Senator Pokisho Samuel Lesuron.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank you for the opportunity to welcome Ms. Kim to Kenya. And it's good to see her this side of the ocean, and to know that she still maintains a relationship with her students. And I want to declare that I'm one of those who have been through her course at ILI, and would like to say we really enjoyed our time there, and that she was so responsible for us that literally we appreciate the fact that she has had to come and follow up on the relationship between us and the Institute, and her personally. She has made so many friends, personal friends among the students. We got to know her and her team very well. And so I just want to appreciate and welcome her to Kenya and to the Senate. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. I had said 2, but Senator Faria, finally.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for allowing me to join you in welcoming Ms. Kim in this Senate. From the CV that everybody, I've never met you, but from the CV everybody is reading, you deserve, a star. Because women, when they're in leadership, they always excel. And I appreciate that you have lived that dream. Welcome to Kenya. Thank you.
Thank you, Senators, and welcome Kim again. The third communication, Honorable Senators, is on the demise of Senator Brengay Victor Sitiene, who until his death was a senator amongst us in this House. Honorable Senators, as you are aware, on Monday, the 16th August 2021, we all received the tragic news of the passing on of the late nominated Senator Victor Brengay Sitiene, MP, which occurred through a tragic road accident at Gyoto area in Nakuru County. The late Senator Brengay was among the youngest legislators in the 12th Parliament and was indeed a great leader, a principled legislator, and a distinguished man who passionately served not just the special interest group, but Kenya in general. The late Senator Brengay was born on the 10th January 1984 in Mariashoni, 94. in Mariashoni, 84, in Mariashoni location, Molo sub-county in Nakuru County. His passion for academic excellence was evident at a very early stage in his life and demonstrated by the illustrious awards he received while pursuing degree programs at the Maseno University. These include a bachelor's degree in economics 2008, a master's of law in 2009, and a master's in strategic management from the Jomo Kenyatta University of Science and Technology, JKU Art. Senator, please take a seat. Honorable Senators, in his short stint in public service from 2010, when he began his career, Senator Brengay distinguished himself as a man of honor, respect, and dignity. He worked as a deputy returning officer in the year 2013 general elections, and in 2014 joined Nakuru County Land Management Board as its chairperson, where he served for a year. He later joined the Betting Control and Licensing Board as a member and served until he was nominated as a senator representing the youth following the 2017 general elections. Honorable Senators, in the Senate, the late Senator Brengay served as the vice chairperson of the Standing Committees on Lands, Environment and Natural Resources, and the Standing Committee on Energy. He was an active member of the Standing Committee on Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations and the Sessional Committee on Delegated Legislation, as well as the Committee on Powers and Privileges. The late Brengay relentlessly advocated for the human and land rights of the minority communities and actively participated in community projects aimed at improving the lives and the livelihoods of the people. He will be fondly remembered as a steadfast leader and ardent defender of devolution and for upholding the rule of law and constitutionalism. To his credit, the late senator had drafted the Minority Protection Bill, which was due to be introduced in the Senate. I am saddened at his passing, considering that he had a bright, clear career ahead of him in public service. I take this opportunity to express my condolences to his family, friends, and relatives, and the people of Nakuru County and the Senate for the loss. Honorable Senators, in honor of our departed colleague and in accordance with our tradition, I request that we stand and observe a moment of silence for his soul. May his soul rest in eternal peace. I thank you, Senators. Honorable members, I will allow a number of you to make your statement on this last communication. Senator Aniri George.
Madam Speaker, I rise this afternoon with a very heavy heart. Allow me to convey my deepest condolences to the family, the people of Nakuru County, and the Senate, and the Republic as a whole, for the loss of our dear departed colleague and young brother. Madam Speaker, it's unfortunate that when our colleague was being laid to rest, I was out of the country on official duty, and therefore I was not able to join those of you who joined the family during that sad moment of sending him off. However, I would like to state that I have very fond memories of our departed colleague. Madam Speaker, I served together with him in the Standing Committee of Environment, Land and Natural Resources, where he was my vice chair, deputizing Senator Mwangi Githiomi. During that period, Madam Speaker, I bonded so much with the young senator. We traveled to so many places together and did so many things together for the committee and the Senate. I can only say that I will miss those times that I shared with my dear young brother and colleague. Senator Prengei, Madam Speaker, died at a very prime age, very young man. And in his death, the country has lost a young, promising leader. My thoughts are especially with his family, the young family that he has left behind, and the Ogiek community. As his colleagues, we must endeavor to ensure that the young family that he left behind is assisted in whatever form that we can, as colleagues and as a Senate. Being a commissioner on the Parliamentary Service Commission, I will also ensure that all the dues that are due to him and to his family are promptly paid in time. Madam Speaker, the only honor that we can give to this minority group of Ogiek is by nominating another Ogiek to replace our departed friend. This was the first time ever an Ogiek sat in a national parliament. The very first time. And Mr. Speaker, the young man, our colleague, was at the forefront fighting for the rights of these minorities, and particularly the Ogiek, and therefore that will need some continuity. So my recommendation and plea to the Jubilee Party would be that kindly consider nominating another person from that community so that he can proceed and conclude the issues that the young senator was pursuing. It is sad, Madam Speaker. I hear that when he got involved in this accident, there was no prompt action to try and save his life. He stayed at the scene of an accident for some time before he was rescued. In the 21st century, Madam Speaker, we don't expect that. Emergency services must be there. We must improve on our emergency services. Maybe, if there was prompt rescue operation, maybe his life would have been saved. So we just want to urge both governments at both levels, national and county, to ensure that emergency services are improved around the country. May the Almighty God rest our colleague's soul in eternal peace.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Ongeri Samson Gagengo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Let me also add my voice to the rather sad and sudden demise of our colleague, Senator Prengei, who was a member of this Senate House. He was a brilliant young man. He carried out his responsibilities with dignity and decorum. He was able to arch out and reach to many other sides of the divide of this House. and he was able to mingle and accept guidance and advice at some stage during the course of his work. I saw him as a man who had a mission to prosecute, and indeed he represented the Ogiek community and in fact the minority community in general throughout the country of Kenya. Once again, testifying that this House does take care of the minority groups as we should and in accordance with our constitution. I want to say to his family, they are young people, they have a future that they look forward to, but at the moment that future is a bit blunted because they have lost a star, somebody who was able to carry them through to the early teenage age to be able to accept and scale the problems of this world. But I believe and trust, seeing the widows as they stood in the church and during the funeral, that they will be able to carry the mantle of carrying out and rearing and caring for those young children who have a tremendous future. And I saw his parents, they were totally devastated because this was their hope. This young man was their hope, their expectation in life. And then suddenly, he's no more. Again, reminding us of the problems we have with our roads here and the sides of the roads which are not well done, and therefore creating potential dangers for casualties. And indeed, we lost a very valuable member of this Senate, and my condolences go out to the family of the Pringay family, the entire wider family. And I saw the brothers who looked very decent and very people who are polished, people who are willing to go an extra. Even when they were struck with this tragedy, they still kept their cool. So my condolences on behalf of the Kisii County and our people in general. Let me pass these condolences to the family of late Pringay. May the Almighty God sustain them and keep them well until such a time we meet again. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Valhada, we saw you, but we can see you have disappeared, so we are waiting for you to come back. Senator Wakos Witswila Amos.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I too want to add my voice to those of my colleagues and convey my personal condolences and the condolences of the people of Busia to the passing away of this young senator who had made history by being the first member of parliament to represent the Ogiek community. Madam Speaker, as others have said, he was a very able. He showed and demonstrated that even from minority tribes like the Ogiek community, we can have able leaders who can articulate the concerns of his people. Madam Speaker, and that's why in Kenya, where we are focused so much on, in politics, we are focused so much on the numbers, that politics is a question of numbers. Minorities tend to be left behind. And yet, it is from the minorities, in fact, that we can have leaders who can be leaders, national leaders, who can be presidents, and who can bring the entire country together. Madam Speaker, I do remember when President Moi came to power, they were not really saying he was a Kalenjin. They were saying that he came from a minority tribe of Tugen, which was a very minor tribe of the Kalenjin tribe. That was the emphasis. And because of that, he was able to bring Kenya together. And I remember other leaders. President Nyerere of Tanzania came from one of the very minor tribes in Tanzania. President Kaunda, who passed on recently, came from one of the minor tribes of Zambia. In fact, there are more of his tribe in Malawi than in Zambia. And people used to say that actually his father came from Malawi and came as a missionary to Zambia. Kwame Nkrumah, the great Pan-Africanist, did not come from the Ashanti tribe, which is a major tribe in Ghana. He came from a very minor tribe, a very, very minor tribe in Ghana. So to look for, we must give the opportunity to people from the very minority tribes to also come up and be leaders. And it may very well be that we shall be looking to such people to lead Kenya, rather than say, because of numbers, we have to look to major tribes to provide the leadership. And that is what is left that is what legacy that he has left behind. And therefore, we as Senate, I believe we should expedite that minority protection bill, which is crafted so that it is passed as quickly as possible during this session when we are still senators and before the general election of 2022. Once again, I convey my sincere condolences to the family and to the children that he has left behind. I noticed in yesterday's papers that your gay community has come together and they had agreed on a person who could be nominated. And let the people responsible for nominations, please take on that recommendation and nominate, because we would want such a person to be in the Senate as quickly as possible so that he can continue the good work that Perengei left. With those three remarks, I thank you.
Senator Wambua Enoch. Gio.
Madam Speaker, I thank you for this opportunity to also join you and my colleagues in eulogizing our friend, our brother, our colleague, the late Senator Victor Pregay. Madam Speaker, I want to begin by bringing my condolences, the condolences of my family and those of the great people of Kitui, to the family, relatives, and friends of the late Senator Pregay. Madam Speaker, I am pleased to hear that our Commissioner, Senator George Aniri, has committed to ensure that the benefits that are due to the family of our departed colleague shall be processed and paid out in good time. Madam Speaker, to that family, that is the least that we can do. And I thank you, Senator Aniri, for that undertaking, and I know that you'll do it not just for the family, but also for the glory of God. That we are very pleased to hear. Secondly, Madam Speaker, we are living in very interesting times. And I also like what I have heard from Senator Amos Wako, that leaders from minority communities in this country must get an equal opportunity to provide leadership beyond their communities. Madam Speaker, there is no better way of doing that than making sure that as colleagues of our departed friend, we fast track a bill that he had drafted on the plight and the rise of minorities and marginalized communities in this country. If that we can do, that would be a great honor, Madam Speaker, to the gay community and other marginalized communities in this country. Madam Speaker, I also want to say that at such a time as this, we are reminded, Madam Speaker, that in the passing on of our colleague, he became the fourth senator in this term to pass on. Madam Speaker, we continue to condole with the families of our other friends and colleagues that we lost in this term, the family of Senator Ben Okello Oluoch from Migori, the family of my brother and my colleague, Senator Boniface Mutinda Kabaka, the family of our friend, our father, Mzee Aji Yusuf, and now the family of Pregay. Madam Speaker, lastly, I want to say that I want to thank the leadership of the Senate, led by the Speaker, for the efforts that they put in setting up a committee where I sat and co-chaired with Senator Susan Kiika to arrange the burial of our friend, and for turning up in really good numbers in church to pray for the soul of our departed colleague, and for those who escorted the body at home for the final rites. Madam Speaker, with those remarks, I condole with the family, relatives and friends of the late Senator Victor Pregay. I thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Bokisha Samuel Lasuron.
Madam Speaker, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to continue to offer my condolences, those of my family and the people of West Pokot, and the condolences of this side of the House following the demise of our beloved young senator, Senator Victor Pregay. Madam Speaker, being on the same side with Pregay did not matter because he was friendly to both sides of the House, and he made it's easy for members of this House to become friends with him. He was amiable, as we have spoken about, a smiling young man who did not have any problems, I don't think, with anyone in this House. And so many things have been spoken. We gave him a very good send-off, Madam Speaker. I know that we had opportunities, some of us, to say at the Requiem Mass, to speak a few words. I also, Madam Speaker, went to his home and the burial site, and had a moment there also to say on behalf of our side of the House and the House, to give our condolences and to mourn with the family. Madam Speaker, I'm particularly concerned about the people he represented, the people, the Ogiek people and the small communities, the marginalized communities that he represented in this House. And very concerned, Madam Speaker, because they have no opportunity at all of being elected if they stood for elections. And so the only way is for them to be nominated. And I want to join my colleagues who have spoken ahead of me, who insist that we should get another pass from the minority groups to represent, particularly from that Ogiek community, if possible. Madam Speaker, I want to say something that I've spoken, I've been in the public domain, that sometimes in the burials of our colleagues, the politics exceeds the limits that should really be allowed when we are giving great send-off to our people. In this particular case, I raised the issue that one faction of the political divide decided to run with it and keep everybody else out, and they turned the whole place into a place where insults and very unkind words were used against the other side. And I thought that was not fair, because we all supported the effort to give our colleague a good send-off. I was there, Madam Speaker, and I saw it was not tenable to continue being in that particular burial spot, because it had turned into a particular political rally, pitting one side of this House against another, and so on. Very unkind words were said about this side of the House, the Jubilee side of the House, and so on. So I do want to agree that sometimes we take these things too far the young man would not have agreed with that. His family would not have agreed with that. I think that the family would have said, this is not enough. But we overpowered the family, and we overpowered the church. The church could not even say anything. I saw the bishop sitting there just waiting, listening to all that stuff which was being said against other people, and so on. But notwithstanding, Madam Speaker, we wish the family well. I know they are a very young family. We have said in many ways that the family should be supported, but also that a person replacing Pringay here should be a person very close to the people of Ogiek. I want to wish this House comfort for losing our colleague, but also may God rest his soul in eternal peace, and I thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Inema Musuruve.
Honorable Speaker, thank you for giving me this opportunity to condole with the family of the late Senator Pringay. And I pass my deepest condolences on behalf of myself, my family, and persons with disabilities in this country, and also on behalf of Kakamega. I want to say Pole Sana to the family of Victor. Honorable Speaker, I remember Senator Pringay very well as being a very active senator. The last time I saw him very active was when we went to Zanzibar, and he represented us very well in volleyball. And when he was doing his volleyball, he would always make a score. It is unfortunate that his time to rest came too soon when he was very young. And I also want to condole with his family. He has left a very young family, and also children are still very young. And I thank Senator Haniri, Commissioner, for coming out strongly, saying that he's going to ensure that all his dues are processed in good time so that the family does not suffer. Honorable Speaker, it is clear that sometimes when people die, their families suffer simply because the process takes forever to even come out. Sometimes even children don't go to school because the monies are not yet out. But with this assurance, I believe that the children will continue going to school, at the widows will dust their feet and move on with life despite the pains of losing a loved one. Honorable Speaker, it is painful that sometimes the ways of God pains us a lot, but that is his way. His ways are different, and we thank the Almighty God for the years he allowed also for us to interact with Senator Pringay. May his soul rest in peace. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Matsayo Stewart Mwachiru.
Asante, Bispika. Bispika, kwa niaba yangu, kwa niaba ya watu wote wa Kilifi County, nataka tu nitoe rambirambi zangu kwa familia, jamii, marafiki wa Victor Pringay. Victor Pringay alikuwa, tukimkumbuka kama marehemu, alikuwa kijana mshupavu. Alikuwa seneta wa hali ya juu katika kushughulika na masuala yanayohusu watu wake wa Ogiek. Hususan, Speaker, alikuwa sana anajibidisha kwa upande wa kutetea masuala ya haki ya watu wake, upande wa mashamba. Speaker, tukiona Senator Pringay alikuwa ni kijana sana. Kifo hakichagui na hakipimi wala hakiangalii. Kifo kinakuja kwa mtu yoyote, lakini kikija kwa mtu ambaye ameanza familia, kuweka familia yake kisawasawa, na hako katika shughuli zake, na ameelekeza katika mwelekeo wa kisawasawa, ni jambo la kusikitisha, ni jambo la kuliza, ni jambo ambalo si zuri kutokea katika familia. Lakini yote haya tunasema ya kwamba sisi kama seneta tulimpenda Pringei, lakini Mwenyezi Mungu alimpenda zaidi. Speaker, tukiangalia kwa upande wa kule alikotoka, tunaona ni anatoka katika kabila ama anatoka katika sehemu ambao wao wanaitwa Ogiek, katika jamii wale wanaoishi katika bonde la Ufa. Ni jamii ndogo sana, ya watu kidogo sana, na kumpoteza mtu kama huyo katika jamii ya familia ndogo kama hiyo si jambo ambalo kila mtu analitafakari. Tunajua sisi tuko kwa upande huu wa bunge na wale wako kwa upande ule mwingine wa wale waliomteua. Tunauliza hapa, tunasema tu ya kwamba pale walipo waweze kuangalia swala hili la watu wa Ogiek, na kwamba kunayo jukumu ama kuweza kuhusishwa kwa hili kabila dogo la Ogiek, ili kupatikane kiongozi mwingine ambaye atakuwa anatoka katika sehemu hiyo hiyo ya wale watu wa Ogiek, aweze kupewa nafasi hiyo kumaliza mhula huu wa unaoendelea mpaka mwaka 2022. Speaker, mimi watu wa Kilifi wote tunasema pole kwa familia, watu wa Ogiek, watu wa bonde la Ufa, na sisi kama seneta wenyewe tulikuwa tunasikitika, tunaombea roho ya marehemu, Mwenyezi Mungu aiweke mahali pema peponi.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Makori, Beatrice Kwamboga.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Let me join my colleagues to pass my condolences to the family of the late Pringei, the Nakuru County, and the Ogiek family. Indeed, we've lost a very powerful, very active colleague. And Madam Speaker, as the Vice Chair of the Sports, we've lost the captain of volleyball, and it is so painful because he was very active in sports. And during the contributions in the House, he used to participate very well. He didn't give us a lot of time when we needed a quorum in this House. Indeed, we've lost a good leader of this country, and we ask the Jubilee Party to kindly nominate one of the Ogiek's family, at least to represent the minorities in this country. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Kasanga Sylvia Mwene.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity also. And thank you for giving us time to eulogize our friend and our colleague. I wish to also extend my deepest condolences once again to the family of the late Senator Pringei. I had an opportunity, of course, at the funeral service here in Nairobi, and I got a chance to meet with his family as well. And we definitely send our deepest and heartfelt condolences to them. A great loss to the Ogiek community, a great loss to his young family. And we always tell them, and I'll repeat it here, that the ways of the Lord are not for us to question, but to understand that He'll give us the strength and the courage to live on and to move on. And indeed, His vision for His decisions will be unveiled in good time. And we have to be patient. We remember the Honorable Senator Pringei as being very dignified in the House. And indeed, he did set a very good example to the young people of this country. He reminds us that a young person can rise up from their village, wherever they come from, and reach to the highest levels of the House in a very honorable manner. And from him, we learn that young people can participate in politics in the right channels that are provided under our Constitution, through our political parties, and through their involvement and community service, they can rise and reach to these highest levels. And most importantly, we learn from him that once you arrive here, then you carry yourself with the dignity that the seat deserves, in a way, you know, to give an example to other future young leaders who would come here. And we really thank the senator for how he carried himself. He was my vice chairperson in the Lands Committee, and we interacted a lot when he was there. We were sent on the first mission that I went to in Africa, in ICGLR. In West Africa, I was with Senator Prengei, and he conducted himself with the highest level of decorum that I could possibly speak of, and indeed was also a personal friend of mine. I just want to say that one of the things that didn't come out clearly to us as his colleagues were the circumstances around how he was treated after the road accident. And this leaves a lot to be desired with our healthcare. And Madam Speaker, we have to speak on this because healthcare is a devolved function. And to this day, 10 years into devolution, we still have horror stories from Kenyans on how emergency services are handled in this country. More so along our highways. Our highways are death traps. Anyone who uses the highways, which is most of us, every time we're on the road, your life is at risk. And to this day, our emergency service response along the highways leaves a lot to be desired. And we have to question this. What has happened to all the ambulances? Where are they 10 years into devolution? Where is the policy that hospitals have to save a life first before they ask how you're going to pay for that service, Madam Speaker? We lose a lot of lives on the highways, a lot of lives. And yet, to this day, even now during COVID, our emergency response leaves a lot to be desired. In fact, if you listen even to COVID patients, families telling you how they struggle to get their patients to be admitted, where you cannot be served unless you pay up so much money, it's really sad, Madam Speaker, in this day and age, in a country of a 3 trillion budget. And these are conversations we must have in honor of our colleague. Madam Speaker, I just want to extend further deep condolences to the family of Senator Prengei and to the Ongiek community, and I hope and pray that indeed they can have somebody else come and represent them in this house. And even if that does not come to fruition, although it is what we would desire as a colleague, then we have to remember that the minorities have to be equally represented in the House, and we must indeed take up then the mantle of where he left off. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Gerard Gay, Samson, Rotich.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving us this opportunity to eulogize our colleague. From the onset, I want to say on my own behalf and on behalf of the people of County of Nandi and my family, I wish to extend our deepest condolences to the family of Prengei, the people of Ogie community, which is largely part of Kalenjin community, where I hail from, and to pray and believe that they shall find grace and fortitude during these hard times. And Senator Prengei was a great man in his role, right? He had this modus operandi of operating in this house, and I remember he used to always smile around, and I can't recall any time that Senator Prengei did offend anybody, even the staff or colleagues here. I have not had, he lived with peace. He was a peaceful man. Madam Speaker, I want to say that as my colleagues have said, those people who are doing nominations should at least, in the respect and in the legacy that Senator Prengei and the Okie community and the marginalized in this country and minorities as envisaged in the Constitution, in his honor, and the legacy to live on, Madam Speaker, is to ensure that we give opportunity back to the Okie community. And you know, Madam Speaker, in Tindre sub-county, Nandi County, we have quite a number of Okie community. It straddles a lot around the larger and expansive Rift Valley, formerly Rift Valley province, Madam Speaker, and I think it is important that we honor them And Madam Speaker, it was a shock. And I think I want to agree with my colleagues that we are doing badly in terms of emergency response in this country, setting up traumatic centers, especially on our major highways, Madam Speaker. I think going into the future, we must agree as a Senate that these major highways from maybe all the way to Mombasa, to Namanga, to Eldoret, and many others, at least we should have traumatic centers or any emergency centers or emergency response ambulances so that it can assist. There are many Kenyans who are dying, not because of the accident, but that time it takes for them to receive medication. I want to thank the funeral committee of our colleagues led by Senator Susan Kiika, the Nakuru Senator, co-chaired by Senator Enoch Wambua, and other members who your able office elected them or appointed them to be part of the funeral committee. Madam Speaker, I think they did a wonderful job, and it was well organized. I want to also thank colleagues who we were together in Rikwe Mass here in Nairobi, and all those who accompanied us, Madam Speaker, to the funeral service. I want to specifically thank His Excellency the Deputy President William Ruto for finding time, and the Senate Speaker Kenneth Lusaka for finding time to mourn with us and be able to send our brother very well. And I think I want to thank colleagues, Madam Speaker. I have had colleagues saying that the support that we gave was very enormous, and I think as the PSC Commissioner has indicated, I think they will try their best to ensure that the dues, so that their children can continue. And I'm happy in that family, Madam Speaker. One brother called Saitoti had taken charge, and we hope when the PSC processes in fullness of time, Madam Speaker, the family and the children are able. Madam Speaker, it is unfortunate that by the time Senator Prengei passed on, the Jubilee Party, with the Jubilee implosion, is still continuing. I saw it yesterday. It's unfortunate that by the time he died, Madam Speaker, there were so many issues, and the party had really frustrated him, Madam Speaker. So I hope to put closure to these matters and going into the future, Madam Speaker, the party should find it, even as the last in honoring him, he needed to remove that case that they had filed against him in trying to remove him, Madam Speaker. So I think, Madam Speaker, going into the future, he lived life well lived, and we continue to condole with him. I want to thank the people of Madam Speaker. The Speaker was there and the Majority Leader was there. I want to thank the Okie community. They were very calm, Madam Speaker. You remember with the COVID protocols, because of COVID protocols, they were not allowed to attend. But I want to thank them for being calm, for being peaceful, for being patient. And Madam Speaker, one just final comment. You know, you and me come from the Kalenjin community. And you know very well, when you are married and you have children, when you pass on, it is our tradition and culture that the body must stay overnight, over vigil. It is very unfortunate that the people who are in power denied the family that chance to ensure that we took the body of Senator Prengei to stay overnight at his home. And I think it was very frustrating, Madam Speaker. The Constitution respects our cultures. The Constitution respects our values. So it was very sad for the powers be to deny the family and the community to allow the body of Senator Prengei as per the Kalenjin community and more so the Okie community, because he had a family, he had children. If he did not have children and the family, then it would have been fine. So I want to, I don't know why the people in government continue to fight the debt. Why do you fight the debt to get which value? So I hope in future, Madam Speaker, we should be able to respect our cultures, our values, and we appreciate that we are divergent. We come from different values. How we do our things are totally different. Madam Speaker, I thank you for giving this opportunity. I know we have a heavy agenda, but the fact that you allowed us to eulogize one of us, I wish to thank you, Madam Speaker, and continue to appeal that the OK community be given that chance to still come back to this house. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Boy Isa Juma.
Asante sana Madam Speaker kunipa fursa hii. Kwanza natoa rambirambi zangu kwa familia ya mwenda zake Senator Victor Prengei kwa niaba yangu na pia na kwa niaba ya watu wa Kwale County. Madam Speaker, marehemu Prengei alikuwa ni vice chairman wangu katika kamati ya ardhi. Nakumbuka kabla hajatoka katika ile kamati tulikuwa na tour ya Kwale County ambapo tuliandamana na yeye na kamati yote Tumeenda kuangalia mzozo wa ardhi Diani, Mbela Farm na pia kule Mkwakwani airstrip ya Ukunda. Katika mazungumzo yake alipokuwa anazungumza kama vice chairman wetu wa kamati ya ardhi, aliweza kukemea sana watu ambao wanachukua ardhi za watu ambao wanawadhulumu wananchi ardhi, na tukikumbuka machozi yanatulenga Madam Speaker, tukikumbuka vile marehemu Prengei akitetea wananchi haki zao. Sisi kama wanadamu hatuna la kusema bali isipokuwa ni kumwombea Mungu, Mwenyezi Mungu alaze roho yake mahali pema peponi, na sisi kama maseneta tuweze kukumbuka familia yake, kwa sababu ana watoto wadogo ambao wale watoto hata kama yeye mwenzetu ameenda mbele za haki, sisi maseneta lazima tutafute wakati na wakati mwingine tuweze kwenda kwa fariji familia ile. Madam Speaker, kwa haya machache asante sana.
Senator Haji Faria Ali.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I wish to join you in passing my heartfelt condolences to my colleague, Senator Prengei, who was a distinguished senator. I served with Senator Prengei in Delegated Legislation Committee for about 3 years. And Senator Prengei was, somebody who, even when he disagreed with you, he will do it in such, a very professional manner that makes you think twice in terms of how you thought about things. So, Madam Speaker, he was so well mannered. He had a way of articulating his ideas. He had a way of contributing in his own ways. He was an active member of the committee. That's the only committee I ever served with him, and in that committee he was really active, Madam Speaker. And loss of Senator Prengei, I think, is a double tragedy, Madam Speaker. First of all, he came as a youth who are not so much represented in political space, and then also as a marginalized group. So his loss really has left a big gap in two groups that are really in their need of his presence. And as most of my senators have submitted, he used to fight for people's rights. So, Madam Speaker, he has left a big gap in this House. And finally, Madam Speaker, I want to thank our colleagues who represented us in both the funeral arrangement and in the service for those of us who were unable to make it. I wish to thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to condole with the family of Senator Prengei. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Senator of Muranga, Senator Gangata.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for affording me that opportunity to say something about my colleague. First, our departed colleague was a very young person, very articulate, and also very learned, notwithstanding that he came from a marginalized community, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, that young person was a beacon of hope amongst the people of Ogiek community. Madam Speaker, this country has about 44 recognized ethnic groups. We have the so-called major communities, but we have other very small communities, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, a democracy is measured its performance in terms of how not only it affords the majority to have their way, but also how minority are respected and how they are treated in the community of nations. Madam Speaker, when we see a representation of Ogiek in this good house by that very young person, to me that's an example of a democracy that is maturing, a democracy that is rising, a democracy that is consolidating. Madam Speaker, and therefore the departure of our departed colleague leaves a major dent in this republic, Madam Speaker. When you see a young person who had very progressive bills which were being discussed by this honorable house, and then we now wonder what happens now that he has left us, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I think somebody out there is crying for the people of Ogiek. Madam Speaker, we have a vision that one day the Ogiek people will be one of the most progressive, most of the developed communities in this republic, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we must continue carrying out that dream of ensuring all marginalized communities in this republic, they get their due recognition, notwithstanding being small in numbers, Madam Speaker. It is in our late brother, we saw that spirit of a community that is rising, that is taking its children to get educated, Madam Speaker. Look at the history of this young person. He came from a community that has very few schools, but was able to go to school, read, become one of the most educated person from that community. And by that sheer good luck, then he was nominated to this honorable house. Madam Speaker, we shall miss his contribution. I would urge those who come from Nakuru County, please, we need another Prengei. We need another warrior for the Ogiek community. We also need a person who represents the small communities so that we continue having a house that is duly represented from all parts of this republic, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Kenya is not about the large communities. Kenya is not an idea that has to be manifested or represented by those who come from big communities. Of course, Madam Speaker, I am very proud to come from Mount Kenya, but that does not entitle me to discriminate small communities, not to give due recognition to small communities like Ogiek. Madam Speaker, when I look at communities like Ogiek, the Gems, when I look at the small communities in Coast, when I look at small communities way back in the semi and arid places of this republic, it is in the spirit of Prengei that we see progress, where anyone can rise from wherever he is to reach to this honorable house. With those few remarks, I pray that his soul may rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you. Finally, Senator Omanga Millicent.
Asante Madam Speaker kwa kunipa fursa ya kumwomboleza mwenda zake ndugu yetu Senator Victor Prengei. Alikuwa kijana mshupavu, kijana mdogo, bado alikuwa katika ujana wake na alikuwa rafiki wa karibu sana. Ningeshukuru pia Madam Speaker kwa kuona inafaa mimi kuwa kwenye kamati ile ambayo ilifanya kutengeneza ile sherehe yake ya mwisho. Bwana Victor tulikuwa naye kwenye kamati ya delegated legislation, na ni mtu ambaye alikuwa anapenda watu wake sana, na kila wakati mungeongea jambo lolote, mswada yote ingekuja kuhusu watu wake, vijana ama community ile kidogo kidogo, alikuwa mtu ambaye alikuwa na roho kweli ya kufanya jambo lifanyike. Bwana Prengei, Madam Speaker, tulisumbuka naye sana katika hii town kwenye chama chetu cha Jubilee. Alikuwa kule kwao Elbago nama Marishoni, ikakuwa kwamba kuna message ambayo ilikuja kwa simu ya kumwalika aende mkutano, na wengi wetu ambao tulienda kule kwenye sherehe yake ya mwisho tuliona kule hakuna mtandao, hakuna mahali angepata ile message, na kwa sababu haingewezekana yeye kufika, ikawa chama chetu kilimdhulumu sana na akakuwa na wasiwasi. Ilikuwa hata kufanya kazi ikakuwa ngumu kwa sababu alikuwa anapata vitisho kila wakati, hawezi kaa na amani. Ilimpata ile zaidi ingempa karibu ugonjwa kwa sababu ya ile vitisho ambayo alikuwa anapata kwa sababu hakuweza kuhudhuria ule mkutano. Inaonesha, lakini alisimama kidete na akasimama, na vile yeye mwenyewe anaaminia kuwa hakupata ile message, na ndio kwa sababu hakuweza kwenda kwa ule mkutano. Kwa sababu ya hiyo tulienda kotini, makesi iko kotini mpaka wa leo, tukaangaishwa tukiwa pale tunajiita Jubilee 6. Ikakuwa tumeangaishwa, ametumia pesa nyingi sana kweli kule kotini. Kwa swala ambalo kusema kweli halikuwa la maana tuseme. Kwa wale walienda huko waliona vile kulikuwa kunakaa. Madam Speaker pia alikuwa ni kijana ambaye alikuwa anajua kuinteract na kila mtu kwenye hii Senate. Madam Speaker, wakati tulikuwa na sherehe yake kule kanisani, ulisimama na ukasema vile ulikuwa unamjua Bwana Prengei, na ilitushangaza wengi kuwa Madam Speaker hata wewe ulimfahamu na alikuwa kwa rafiki. Ni kumaanisha kwamba yeye alikuwa rafiki ya kila mtu, hakuwa anabagua kuwa wewe ni mkubwa, wewe ni mdogo, wewe ni tajiri, wewe ni maskini, wewe ni wa kike, wewe ni wa kiume. Hakuwa anabagua. Na ni huzuni sana kijana kama huyo mdogo tumempoteza Madam Speaker, na bali kuwa kijana pia ametoka kwenye community ambayo iko na watu wachache Kenya hii. Ile tungependa kuomba ni kwamba tukipata ile mtu ambaye atakuja kumreplace Madam Speaker, hawe anatoka kwenye ile community yake ya watu wa ile jamii yake ndogo ambaye inaitwa Ongek. Tunasema aende, asafiri salama, sote tuko njia ile ile. Asante Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. Our time is far gone, and that was the last I had given a chance. Next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Honorable Senators, I have 2 messages to deliver. The first message is the passage of the Kenya National Library Service Bill, National Assembly Bill number 5 of 2020. Honorable Senators, I wish to bring to the attention of the Senate that on Monday, 9th August 2021, pursuant to Standing Order number 41.3 and 4, the clerk delivered to me a message from the Speaker of the National Assembly regarding the passage by the National Assembly of the Kenya National Library Service Bill, National Bill number 5 of 2020. The message, which is dated Thursday, 5th August 2021, was received while the Senate was on recess and was transmitted to all senators on the 9th August 2021, pursuant to the Standing Order number 41.5. Pursuant to the said Standing Order, I now report the message. Pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 41.1 and 142 of the National Assembly Standing Orders, I hereby convey the following message from the National Assembly. Whereas the Kenya National Library Service Bill, National Assembly Bill number 5 of 2020 was published by Kenya Gazette Notice, Gazette Supplement number 24 of 20th March 2021 as a bill concerning county governments to provide for the establishment of the functions of Kenya National Library Service, to distinguish the functions of the Kenya National Library Service from the other public libraries, and to preserve national documentary heritage. And whereas the National Assembly considered and passed the said bill on Wednesday, 6 July 2021 with amendments in the form attached hereto, now therefore, in accordance with the provisions of Article 110(4) of the Constitution and Standing Orders 41.1 and 142 of the National Assembly Standing Orders, I hereby convey the National Assembly's decision to the Senate. Honorable Senators, you will recall that following the High Court ruling on 29th October 2020 on constitutional petition number 284 of 2019, implementation of the judgment by the Senate commenced. Notably, the High Court ordered that all bills for which the concurrence process contemplated and under Article 110(3) of the Constitution would not be demonstrated, be ceased, and that the said concurrence process will be adhered to before introduction of such bills in either House of Parliament. Honorable Senators, the Kenya National Library Service Bill, National Assembly Bill number 5 of 2020 is one such bill for which the concurrence process pursuant to Article 110(3) of the Constitution cannot be demonstrated. As such, the bill ought to be aligned to the Article 110(3) of the Constitution, following which the bill will be read a first time in the Senate. In view of the foregoing, the Kenya National Library Service Bill, National Assembly Bill number 5 of 2020, as received from the National Assembly by the message dated Thursday, 5th August 2021, will not be proceeded with in the Senate. I thank you, Senators. Senators, please take your seats. Honorable Senators, the second message is on the approval passage of the Parliamentary Pensions Amendment Bill number 3, Bill, the National Assembly Bill number 53 of 2019. Honorable Senators, I wish to bring to the attention of the Senate that on Monday, 23rd August 2021, pursuant to Standing Order number 41.3 and 4, the clerk delivered to me a message from the Speaker of the National Assembly regarding the passage by the National Assembly of the Parliamentary Pensions Amendment number 3 Bill, National Assembly Bill number 57 of 2019. The passage, which is dated 17th August 2021, was received on 19th August 2021, while the Senate was on recess, and was transmitted to all senators on the 23rd August 2021, pursuant to Standing Order number 41.5. Pursuant to the said Standing Order, I now report the message. Pursuant to the provisions of Standing Orders 41.1 and 142 of the National Assembly Standing Orders, I hereby convey the following message from the National Assembly. Whereas the Parliamentary Pensions Amendment number 3 Bill, National Assembly Bill number 57 of 2019 was published by Kenya Gazette Supplement number 115 of the 9th July 2019 as a bill that seeks to amend the Parliamentary Pensions Act, Cap 196, Laws of Kenya, so as to inter alia provide for the option for a member of Parliament to elect to be paid either a pension or gratuity, provide for the payment of gratuities to former members, and to reconstitute the Parliamentary Pensions Management Committee to align with the bicameral nature of the Parliament by including senators as members of the committee. And whereas the National Assembly considered the bill and passed it on Thursday, 5th August 2021 with amendments and in the form attached hereto, now therefore, in accordance with the provisions of Article 110 of the Constitution and Standing Orders 41.1 and 142 of the National Assembly Standing Orders, I hereby convey the said decision of the National Assembly to the Senate. Honorable Senators, you will recall that following the High Court ruling on 29 October 2020 on the constitutional petition number 284 of 2019, implementation of the judgment by the Senate commenced. Notably, the High Court ordered that all bills for which the concurrence process contemplated under Article 110(3) of the Constitution would not be demonstrated, be ceased, and that the said concurrence process be adhered to before introduction of such bills in either House of Parliament. Honorable Senators, the Parliamentary Pensions Amendment number 3 Bill, National Assembly Bill number 57 of 2019 is one such bill for which the concurrence process pursuant to Article 110(3) of the Constitution had not been demonstrated by the time the High Court gave its judgment. As such, the bill ought to be aligned to Article 110(3) of the Constitution, following which the bill will be read a first time in Senate. In view of the foregoing, the Parliamentary Pensions Amendment number 3 Bill, National Assembly Bill number 57 of 2019, as received from the National Assembly by message dated 17th August 21, will not be proceeded with in the Senate. I thank you, Senators. Next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
We have one petition, Honorable Senators, from Senator Aniri.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to present this petition. I rise to present this petition on behalf of former Kimondi Forest Quarters. This is a group of people who approached me and explained to me they applied, and I guided them on how to do a petition to the House of Parliament. We've gone through the processes, and I now have the pleasure to present the petition on their behalf. This is a petition to Parliament on resettlement of former Kimondi Forest Quarters. We, the undersigned citizens of the Republic of Kenya, collectively comprising former Kimondi Forest Quarters from Nandi County, Chesumei constituency, and Kiptuya ward, we draw the attention of the Senate to the following. Number one, Madam Speaker, that the former Kimondi Forest Quarters had been living in Kimondi Forest since 1946 until 1987, when the government evicted them. Number two, that the former Kimondi Forest Quarters were victims of a forceful importation by the government immediately after the Second World War to Kimondi Forest from various parts of the country, and were used as laborers to work in clearing the natural forest to allow planting of exotic trees. B, that the former Kimondi Forest Quarters were imported on lorries, registration number OHMS, which in full, Madam Speaker, stood for On Her Majesty Service. Each lorry could carry up to 7 families, mostly from western part of Kenya, and other communities came in and were also brought by the government after the Mau Mau were released from detention. Number 3, that for a long time, we the petitioners have sought to have the matter resolved by writing a letter to the former provincial commissioner, a letter that was dated 2nd October 1979. Number 4, that we, the petitioners, are in possession of a letter from the District Commissioner Office, Nandi District, dated 18th of March, the year 2002, that affirmed the position that the government will resettle the petitioners. Number 5, that we, the petitioners, have launched a petition with the National Lands Commission, NLC, in the matter of historical land injustice, reference number NLC/HLI/430/2018. And this petition was launched pursuant to the provisions of Article 67, paragraph 2E of our Constitution. That it was submitted to the National Lands Commission, and that the government of Kenya has undertaken previous resettlement programs, but the petitioners have only received empty promises. Number 7, that it was also submitted to the National Lands Commission by the Kenya Forest Service that a parcel of land totaling to 1,541 hectares from the Kimondi Forest that was gazetted in Kenya Gazette number 27, volume C, XX1 of 1st March 2019 on page 877, table number 10, case number NCL/HLI/430/2018, to be degazetted, excision and survey to be completed for the purpose of resettling the former Kimondi Forest squatters. Number 8, Mr. Speaker, that from the submission to the Historical Land Injustice Committee of the National Lands Commission, the Commission made a finding that we, the petitioners, were victims of land injustice. Number 10, that from these findings, the National Lands Commission recommended that the county government, in collaboration with the Ministry of Lands, Adjudication and Settlement Department, and other relevant authorities, should settle us. Number 10, Mr. Speaker, that the current governor of Nandi County, during his annual address to the Nandi County Assembly on the 27th February 2019, confirmed knowledge of the National Lands Commission findings and recommendation regarding our compensation. Number 11, that we, the petitioners, have sought redress from the above government institutions to have our concerns addressed, but to date, the recommendations have not been implemented. Lastly, number 12, that the matters in this petition are not before any court of law. Herefore, your humble petitioners pray to the Senate that, number 1, Senate should make recommendation to the Minister of Lands to conduct an audit of the entire current claimant to establish the genuine original squatters that comprise the former Kimondi Forest squatters. Prayer number 2, Mr. Speaker, that the Senate should investigate the causes of continued delay and sidelining of the resettlement of the petitioners. And number 3, the petitioners pray that the Senate intervenes to have the petitioners' resettlement process fast-tracked. This petition, Mr. Speaker, is dated the 2nd day of August 2021, and it is signed by 36 petitioners on behalf of the rest of the residents, led by Peter Lunyenye, Yohana Rono, Anne Sambesa, Eunice Meli, Peris Wanjiku, Philip Ayodi, and others. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Senators, pursuant to Standing Order 231, I shall now allow comments, observations, and clarification in relation to the petition for not more than 30 minutes. Senator Enoch Wambua.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to comment on this petition brought to the floor of the House by our colleague, Senator George. Mr. Speaker, I want to begin by saying that from the onset, it's actually a shame that 58 years after independence, we are still talking about squatters. It's actually a big shame. It's even a bigger shame that there is now competition even among the squatters on who is the original squatter and who is not an original squatter. You know, that's a conversation that a country that has been independent for the last 58 years should not even be having. The Speaker, it baffles me how a Kenyan citizen by birth can be a squatter in his own country. And you know, the most baffling thing about this is that these Kenyans, I am very sure, are they 39 or 41, the 36 who have signed on behalf of many others, original squatters, the Speaker, at some point in their life, they are being called upon to sing the national anthem. And they sing the words that justice be our shield and defender, may we dwell in unity, peace, and liberty, plenty be found within our borders. The Speaker, how is justice the shield and defender for these people who, according to their petition, they started pursuing this matter as early as 1979, and to date, a resettlement or solution has not been found. The Speaker, I thank God that today, as we discuss this petition, the leader of majority is in the House. And he will definitely take up this matter, not just for the committee, but to the government that he represents and defends on the floor of this House, that this is a shame that we cannot deal with. That the Speaker, a time has come that this country must do away with this conversation about squatters. Why, Mr. Speaker? Because if you have a squatter, a single squatter, in any corner of this country, even those landowners who have swathes of land, their land ownership is a sham. And I also want to thank my brother, Senator Aniri, for doing this on behalf of petitioners largely drawn from Nandi County, and the Senator for County is here, that every effort must be made between the Senator of Nandi, the committee to which this petition will be taken, the leadership of this House, to ensure that this conversation about squatters who first petitioned government in 1979, their matter is settled and resolved once and for all. The Speaker, those remarks, I support the petition.
Senator Olekina.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you. I rise to support this petition brought by my colleague, Senator Handuri, on behalf of these 41 Kenyans, and I dare say they're not 41, but there are thousands and thousands of Kenyans who are made to be homeless because of greed. Mr. Speaker, before I came to support this petition, I was looking at the amount of land that ADC has, the African Development Corporation. And during the time of Agricultural Development Corporation, during the time of President Moi, and the majority leader will bear me witness, a few very powerful individuals took advantage of this corporation and allocated themselves land. If you go to Laikipia, I hear the other day, we're told that the current deputy president has a lot of land in Laikipia, which belongs to ADC. If you go to Njambini, you will find former government officials owning thousands of acres of land. One person owning over 10,000. I'm sure there is Kulei, who ADC, he has a big chunk of land in ADC of about 3,000 acres. There's also another 10,000 acres. Anyone who was anybody during the Moi era allocated themselves thousands and thousands of acres of land. Some of them are still around, some of them have gone. So, Mr. Speaker, I hope that the committee which would look at this petition which will spend some time to really evaluate this issue of squatters. And I agree with my colleague, Senator Enoch Wambua, that it is literally ludicrous for anyone to say that you belong to this country called Kenya and you are a squatter. You know, that's just, it doesn't even make any sense. Mr. Speaker, the land, the squatters, and I hope that my brother, I'm actually supporting you, if you just listen to me.
I'm not in contention whether you are supporting me or not. Is it in order, because I've seen him arguing about ADC land, is it in order to tell this house that the deputy president has land and yet he cannot produce ownership and possession of the same? Is it not casting aspersions? Can he substantiate? I think that is important so that you don't mix us up. I agree with your line thought of supporting squatters, but you don't need to bring stories that were discussed outside these prisons to the floor of the House. I think you need to clarify if he has the proof.
Mr. Speaker, if I may.
Senator Dama.
If I may, I think it would be good for my colleague to listen, to pay attention, and not just, try to summarize. All I said is that it was alleged that the deputy president owns over 10,000 acres of land which belong to ADC. This is information which was presented to the National Assembly, which I believe is part of this parliament. So my statement was very clear. I said that former government officials during Moi era allocated themselves land, thousands of acres, and I mentioned some names. I mentioned Kulei. He has over 3,000 acres in Jambini. Go to ADC offices down the street. You'll be given a list of everyone. And when you follow the roots of those people, they were all part of the Moi era. Maybe even the current vice president or deputy president was able to be blessed and he got some land during that period of time. I don't know. So what I'm saying is that it's a bit ludicrous for us to keep on saying that Kenyans are squatters, yet we have a lot of land. So I'm giving you the easiest way out, my dear friend Senator from Nandi. I think you should go to ADC, ask ADC to take some of that land, which we don't really know how it is benefiting ADC now, if it is not a few individuals, and allocate that land to these Kenyans. There are so many Kenyans, in fact, who cannot live in their land now because, either because of natural issues. I don't support anyone living in the forest. I completely do not support that. So if they lived in the forest for many years and they were removed, there was a reason as to why the government removed them. When you remove somebody from the forest, give them land. I listened to the petition when it was being read, and one of the points that I picked up.
Proceed.
Senator Ledama, if you allow me to inform you, I want to thank you. I have heard you pleading with Senator Cherage to listen to you because you are trying to defend these people, which is very true. In fact, I was just going to add on what you're saying, that because this petition is about the people of Nandi, the people that he represents in the Senate, he should be louder pursuing the cause of his people and not defending landowners whose acquisition of land cannot be justified. And as you said, those were just allegations. They will be proved. But the most important thing for the senator of Nandi to do for now is to push for the cause of the landless people in his county. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Ledama. What is it, Senator Cherage?
I think Senator Wambua, maybe his training is different from mine, and my learned senior retired Chief Justice, Justice Manzayo, will tell you that making unsubstantiated allegations is very wrong. What I just wanted to clarification from Senator Ledama, he has confirmed that he was just making it his allegations. So I would appreciate the wisdom of Senator Wambua to also listen, because my background does not allow me for anybody, for their aspersions to be cast. And that is why I agree, even Nandi, the major problem we are facing in Nandi is about land. And I agree in this line of thought. I was only assisting him so that he does not walk into a dangerous landmine by making statement that is not true. But he has confirmed, my brother Ledama said it is an allegation. So let's leave it at that. I think on the issue of land and issues of justice to land in historical injustice is a very serious issue. Even Mao, where Senator Ledama comes from, faces similar, even in coast everywhere in the country. So we must agree with what I was warning Senator Ledama to do, or asking him, is not to bring the cheap politics that we are seeing across the country at the moment.
Proceed, Senator Ledama.
I know you are only given us 30 minutes. I'll try to be brief and go straight to the point. The issue of land is very emotive, and I too agree with Senator Ambua that my good friend from Nandi should really listen to us keenly so that we can be able to assist you in finding a way to be able to resettle your people. We have said people will not live in the forest. Trees and monkeys and animals belong to the forest. We as human beings have got so much land out there, and ADC is an example. So I think the first thing you should do is to go out there and list everybody who has got thousands and thousands of acres of land from ADC, and then ensure that those poor Kenyans, who lived there since 1946, can be, settled somewhere. It is quite sad, Mr. Speaker, for me to note this, that a lot of people have complained to the Land Commission. They have complained to the Provincial Commission before. They have now complained all the way to the Ministry of Agriculture, all the way to the CS, seeking redress because of either being kicked out of where they used to live, where they did not have ownership of, or did not have any papers to show that they belong to that place. But that doesn't justify anyone living in the forest. So, Mr. Speaker, for me to conclude this, let me reiterate by supporting the sentiments of Senator Haniri that these people should be given an opportunity to be settled. And I think if this committee now, the Lands Committee, which has done a fantastic job in listening to issues that deals with people who have been disfranchised, can move expeditiously before the term of this office, then at least then we can say the senator from Nandi did something good for his people. Those who live in the Mao forest, they did not live there because of wanting to live in the forest. They lived in the forest because of situations like this, where maybe where they lived, they did not have any ownership of land, and they were not able to afford to buy any piece of land. So, Mr. Speaker, since very few people can afford to buy land now, and a lot of people who own land, and the majority leader will bear me witness here, they never bought that land. Some of us inherited our land. We never bought that land. But if other Kenyans are not able to inherit land, then the government should now take the necessary step. Instead of owning all that land and enriching a few people who work with the Agricultural Development Corporation, take some of that land and settle these Kenyans. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Sylvia Kasanga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for allowing me to weigh in on this petition. I want to thank Senator Kaniri for bringing it, for being the conduit of bringing this petition here to the House. And Mr. Speaker, we've dealt with similar cases in the Lands Committee, and without a doubt, land is the most emotive. And like Senator Wambua said, it's a travesty to imagine that since independence, we still have Kenyans, voters, taxpayers who are living as squatters in their own country. Madam Speaker, even what is even stranger about this petition is the fact that the Historical Land Injustice Committee of the National Lands Commission made a finding that the petitioners were victims of historical land injustice. And from this finding, the NLC recommended that the county government, in collaboration with the Ministry of Lands and other relevant authorities, to resettle them. I mean, their case has already been considered, and it's a question of implementation. And it's really sad, Mr. Speaker, that, where are the representatives of these people? I mean, surely, I don't even know what to say. I just want to thank the senator for bringing it, of course, and assuring these Kenyans that at committee we shall deal with it. But really, we have a lot that is left to be desired, considering that we are very busy in the public realm, preparing for another election, going to seek for votes from these same Kenyans who we are not seeming to fight for their rights. Something is amiss somewhere, Mr. Speaker. I thank you.
Senator Manzayo.
Asante Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, kwanza nataka kumshukuru ndugu yangu Kanira kwa sababu ya kuleta mswada huu. Bwana Spika, tunajua mambo ya mashamba yako na utetesi mwingi. Tunaelewa kwamba mashamba ni uhai. Tunaelewa kwamba mashamba ni vile watu wanaweza kuketi katika mashamba na kumiliki ardhi zao. Bwana Spika, kuna mwanasiasa zamani alikuwa katika hili bunge la Kenya kutoka Nyandarua, alikuwa akiitwa JM Kariuki. Alisema hapa katika hili bunge ya kwamba Kenya inafaa kuwa na watu 10,000 ambao watakuwa matajiri kuliko kuwa na watu 10 matajiri na watu 10,000 maskini. Hili lilikuwa jambo la kusikitisha, lakini yeye alikuwa upande wa Nyandarua na alikuwa anaongea juu ya Wakenya. Na sisi hivi leo, kama kuna donda sugu la mambo ya uskota, Bwana Spika, la kusikitisha ni kwamba mashamba yote ya ADC ni mashamba ambayo yamejaa tele na watu wanaoitwa maskota. Na tunavyoelewa Bwana Spika, katika Kenya hakuna skota. Sote sisi ni wa Kenya, na ni jambo la aibu sana kuona ya kwamba hata katika sheria hakuna mtu anaweza kuitwa skota. Lakini hapa tumebuni neno linaitwa skota ili kuweza kuwafanya hawa watu ambao hawana hati za kumiliki ardhi zao kama watu ambao hawaishi ndani ya Kenya. Bwana Spika, ni jambo nataka kushukuru pia ya kwamba ardhi hii iko upande wa yule ndugu yangu mdogo wangu seneta wa Nandi, seneta mshupavu, seneta ambaye namuenzi sana. Na jambo hili natumaini yeye mwenyewe analifikiria na atalichukulia hatua ya nguvu zaidi. Ndugu yangu, usilegeze kamba, watu wa Nandi wanakuhitaji. Mimi nataka kusema tu ya kwamba hata kule upande wa Kilifi kuna mahali kunaitwa Sabaki, shamba kubwa sana la ADC, na hilo shamba liko na historia. Shamba hilo lilipeanwa kwa wananchi wenyewe, na ziko taratibu na stakabadhi nyingi sana ambazo zilikuwa zimeandikwa na serikali, viongozi walikuwa kwa serikalini, na hatimaye wakasema ya kwamba shamba hilo liregeshewe watu wenyewe wanaoishi eneo la Magarini, hususan wale wanaishi ndani ya Sabaki. Lakini ufisadi mkubwa ukitokea, utaona ya kwamba wale mabwenyenye wale wakubwa wakijitokeza, unaona ya kwamba hata MCA wa ile eneo alipokuwa akihoji, alipokuwa akiuliza swali, alipokuwa akidai na kuenda huko na kuona ya kwamba watu wake wako sawa, anaitwa Dele, huyo MCA wa hiyo area alishikwa akatiwa ndani. Lakini kwa sababu kwamba kulikuwa na mawakili, mimi nikiwa mmoja wao, tuliweza kumtetea na akatoka, hivi sasa yuko nyumbani. Hili shamba la ADC ambalo liko eneo la Magarini, eneo la Sabaki, ni shamba ambalo ni la kuliza zaidi. Haki za wale watu wa pale, ikiwa ni Wagiriama wanaishi pale ndani, ikiwa ni watu wengine wa Kenya pia wanaishi pale ndani, wamepewa mpaka kila mtu amepewa kitambulisho chake kuhusikana na hiyo shamba. Walienda wamesettle hapo, walikuja wakafurushwa hapo, wakaondolewa kwa hali ya kinyama ambao si sawa. Na sisi tunasema ya kwamba si kama ni serikali ya Kenya, na tuko na wizara hususan inahusikana na mambo ya mashamba. Bwana Spika, ni jambo la kusikitisha hivi leo watu wakiwa wamejikunja katika area moja, wamejaa tele na shamba liko pale, na hali walikuwa wamepewa na serikali. Ndio shida kama hizi. Tunasema ya kwamba ni lazima serikali ichukue kipaumbele kusema ya kwamba watu hawa waregeshwe katika ardhi yao, wakae katika ile ardhi yao huko ya ADC huko Sabaki, ili waweze kumiliki hapo mahali, aitumike ili waweze kujikimu, itumike ili waweze kupata makao ya kuishi, kuliko kuwatesa wananchi wa Kenya na kuwaweka katika mabarabara na hali ambao wanaishi na watoto na mabibi na familia zao katika hali ya kusikitisha. Bwana Spika, ombi langu ni kwamba haki itendeke kwa kila mtu, ikiwa kuanzia upande wa Nandi, upande wa Masai wale wanaishi kule wakiongozwa na ndugu yangu Olekina Ledama. Tunasema ya kwamba eneo lolote ambalo liko na maskwota, tuweze kuona ya kwamba serikali imejukumbika ili watu wale wanaoishi pale waweze kupata ile eneo. Hususan nikisema ya kwamba watu wa Sabaki pia ni wa Kenya na wana haki ya kupata ardhi yao. Ile ya ADC warudi pale pale, wenyewe waendelee kuishi pale pale kama walivyokuwa wakiishi hapo zamani. Asante Bwana Spika.
Senator Cherargei.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. I want to say from the onset that this is a timely petition. As I have indicated, land in Africa and in our setting is very emotive. When you read the book by Professor Tom Ojenda on conveyancing, he starts by saying land is an emotive issue.
Senator Cherargei, we have 5 minutes left for this petition, for the comments and observation regarding this petition.
Okay.
So, and we have one request.
Okay.
Proceed.
Mr. Speaker, I would have begged your indulgence since I'm the authority. I come from that particular county, but I'll be very brief. Mr. Speaker, as they say, as I was indicating that Professor Tom Ojenda has written in his book, Conveyancing, that land is a very emotive issue, and it is defined in African setup that when you don't own land, you are nobody. We have a very serious issue of land historical injustices. I want to thank this Senate that, Mr. Speaker, and I want the goodness is majority leader is here. There was a resolution in 2018 where we adopted Talai historical injustices. Mr. Speaker, I have written to National Land Commission to address Talai land historical injustices, but there is no response from National Land Commission and even the Attorney General that this resolution that this House did. So I want to note that even as we discuss on this petition, there is already a petition that this House has adopted on Talai. I hope the majority leader will find it out of his wisdom to talk to National Land Commission to ensure the people of Talai are restituted. Mr. Speaker, secondly and finally is that the problem we are facing in Nandi is that we have two sets of evictions. There are the IDPs and forest evictees. And it is not unique to Kimondi forest evictees. We also have Tendoropo, that Community Association of Kenya, that largely are in Chesumei, Masap, Aldai, Nandi Hills, and Tindret. Mr. Speaker, and these people, most of them are in Ngatip Kong areas in Nandi Hills sub-county. You go to Tindret, Kipkurore, evictees, you all the way. And Mr. Speaker, I agree that these are forest evictees. Most of them are on by the roadsides that we have in Nandi, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we have this, and I want to confirm to this House, this association of Torobo Community Association of Kenya, I have written to the Ministry of Devolution. They have written to the Interior Ministry of Coordination administration and national government, because, Madam Speaker, members might not know here that the compensation was being tossed from Ministry of Devolution to Ministry of Interior. Up to now, they were taken back to Interior, where county commissioners are in charge, Madam, and even the National Land Commission. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to say from the onset that this is a very important issue, but even in Nandi, they should, even across the country, and I think this is a problem, that there is a serious issue between forest evictees and the internally displaced persons from the clashes that we have had from the 92 all the way to 2007, 2008. So even as we address this, we must as a house, and I want to challenge the Committee of Lands, I think chaired by my brother Senator for Juma Boy Issa, that they need to differentiate and address the issue of forest evictees and the issue of IDP, so that we can, even the Mao issue, Mr. Speaker, the Mao evictions, the people there are now living on the roadside, they are suffering. It is across the country when you go to Coast. So it is not so unique to Nandi, but it is a national issue that we must come up with a proper and resolutions. And I want to request the people who are mandated to resolve, because after we have resolved, we have adopted the implementation status by the National Land Commission, by the Ministry of Interior in terms of restitution, resettlement, and compensation must be done forthwith, Mr. Speaker. So when you talk about the Robo community, the OKA community, the community of forest, Kimondi forest evictees, all of them, and even those who stay even around Chemaza area, Mr. Speaker, largely in Tindre sub-county, and even others that were affected from all the way from in 206 from Kericho, and they have now resettled somewhere around Kamelil in Tindre sub-county. These are people that are facing serious land historical injustice. And I want to agree finally, Mr. Speaker, with our colleagues that there is ATC land. Even in Nandi, we have ATC land around Kimwani area. We can use such land and agree with government, because there is no value of that ADC farms that can give the country. We can use and resettle the squatters, the forest evictees and IDP, so that we can get value for that. So, Mr. Speaker, I hope this is, in as much as this is the issue from Nandi on the issue of land issue, we also must agree that we need to address, even here in Nairobi, you remember there were Ruai evictions. There were evictions that have been done within and about for the last few months since COVID started and the lockdowns. We need to address also, because this land, the evictions that are happening within Nairobi also is the same that is affecting in forest evictees that we are facing. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank my colleague and my neighbor for bringing this to the attention. And finally, Mr. Speaker, as I conclude, is that there are three things: IDPs, forest evictees, and what we call infrastructural evictees. That is what you see happening in cities like Nairobi, where you want to build infrastructure, you evict those people. Those are called infrastructural evictees. And I hope when the committee will be handling this, they will have humility to involve some of us who have specific interests, so that the issue of land historical injustice, Mr. Speaker, do not being used for political expediency in Nandi, for example. I have seen even elected leaders, people who want to vie for offices, are using politicization of disfranchisement of forest evictees and people who are facing land historical injustice to score political points. Let us address this issue legally and within the frameworks that we have provided to ensure compensation to our people. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Msuruve.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this chance to add my voice to this petition. And I would like to congratulate Senator Haneri for coming up with this petition. And this is because when it comes to issues of land, they are very emotive and they're issues that need to be settled. And it is unfortunate that people can become squatters and then they're displaced. And the earnest prayer of the petitioners is very clear, that they want the Senate to intervene, and they want the Senate to ensure that they are settled, and they want the Senate to do investigations, and they're rightful in seeking the Senate to do this, because the Honorable Speaker, from the petition, It was very clear that they have tried many offices, but their cries have not been heard. And so it is just in good faith that the Senate intervenes and ensures that these people are settled, because the land is a factor of production. It can be used as a collateral. And with land, you can do very many other things. So without land, one becomes very helpless. So I hope that the committee that is going to handle this issue is going to expedite the issue so that these people are justifiably placed in a manner in which they'll also have harmony. Their families will also be settled psychologically. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity. I support.
Honorable Senators, Standing Order 232-1 requires every petition to be committed to relevant committee, standing committee for consideration. In this case, I direct that the petition be committed to the Standing Committee on Lands, Environment and Natural Resources. In terms of Standing Order 232-2, the committee is required in not more than 60 calendar days from the time of reading the prayer to respond to the petitioner by way of a report addressed to the petitioner and laid on the table of the Senate. I thank you. Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Order, Senator. Order, Senator. We are in order number 5. Proceed.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the Senate today, 7th September 2021. 1. Report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Madeira Water and Sanitation Company Limited for the year ended 30th June 2019. 2. Report of the Auditor General on the financial statement of Karuri Water and Sanitation Company Limited for the year ended 30th June 2019. 3. Report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Ruiru Juja Water Sewerage Company Limited for the year ended 30th June 2019. 4. Report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Muranga South Water and Sanitation Company Limited for the year ended 30th June 2019. 5. Report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Othaya Mukurueni Water Services Company Limited for the year ended 30th June 2019. And 6. Mr. Speaker, the Public Finance Management Equalization Fund Administration's Regulations 2021. And I thank you.
Chair Finance.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the Senate today, 7th September 2021. 1. Report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the County Government Grants Bill, Senate Bill number 35 of 2021. 2. Report of the Senate, or the report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the county government's cash disbursement schedule for the financial year 2021-2022. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Chair Finance, Senator Kibiru.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to give notice of motion of the following motion, that the Senate adopts the report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the cash disbursement schedule for the financial year 2021-2022, laid on the table of the Senate on Tuesday, 7th September 2021, and that pursuant to Section 17(7) of the Public Finance Management Act and Standing Order 183.3, the Senate approves the county government's cash disbursement schedule for the financial year 2021-2022. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
Senator Sylvia Kasanga.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 48-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Labor and Social Welfare regarding the alleged abusive treatment of persons living with disability by human traffickers. In this statement, the committee should address the following: investigate allegations that there are human traffickers in Kenya exploiting people living with disability, mostly women and children, by making them work as beggars, domestic servants, and in other extreme cases for prostitution, among other inhumane treatments, contrary to Article 54 of the Constitution. State the nationalities of many such beggars flooding most Kenyan streets, clearly stating how they found themselves in Kenyan streets and whether they are documented to be in the country. And 3, outline the measures the ministry has put in place, if any, to register and render the necessary support to all people living with disability for the purpose of enabling them access human dignity, freedom, security, economic and social rights entitled to all Kenyans. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Gertrude Musuruve.
Honorable Speaker, thank you for giving me an opportunity to comment on this statement. And Honorable Speaker, this is not the first time the issue of PWDs being used as beggars is coming on the floor in this House. I once brought it at a point when PWDs were actually confined in houses in Kariobangi, and very early in the morning, they were being dropped in the city to beg on the streets. And then after begging on the streets, they were supposed to pay their masters who are dropping them. And it is a sorrow state of affairs, Honorable Speaker, and it is still going on. Because, Honorable Speaker, even when I was in Lugari, the last time I was there just very recently, around Turbo Market, I saw some PWDs, and I decided to come to their aid. When I investigated where they came from, they were coming from Tanzania, Honorable Speaker. It is unfortunate that even people are taking PWDs from Tanzania, bringing them to Kenya to beg on the streets, and then they have to pay for their being on the streets. And it is something that needs to be investigated so that if we have beggars from Tanzania and other parts of the world being trafficked to come and beg here, then they should be repatriated, Honorable Speaker. It is very painful and unfair that human beings can decide to use their own human beings in such a callous manner, Honorable Speaker. And also the issue of societal perception on PWDs, that PWDs should be beggars and all that. This is something that should be a beg on, because PWDs now should be empowered so that they're not only looking for handouts, but they're also being in big positions that matter, Honorable Speaker, but not begging on the streets, because most people are used to giving PWDs handouts and all that. Even those who are educated, Honorable Speaker, they're made to beg. So I hope that the committee will investigate and come to the root of the matter and ensure that it brings to a stop the issue of PWDs, Honorable Speaker, being trafficked to beg. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I support the statement.
Senator Manzayo. We request those senators who wish to contribute or give comments on the statement to be brief.
Asante Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, wacha tumshukuru Sylvia Kasanga, architect, kwa kuleta hii statement hapa ndani ya bunge. Bwana Spika, tunaona vile walemavu wanavyoteswa wakiwa katika hizi kazi. Bwana Spika, ni jambo la aibu kwamba wakati ukiwa unapeleka gari ikiwaka rangi nyekundu, ukiwa umesimama, wanakuja kwa dirisha na kuomba. Na hii si jambo ambalo linatendeka katika mabarabara peke yake. Siku hizi hata katika vichochoro wanangoja na kuomba. Na ukichunguza sana Bwana Spika, utaona ya kwamba kuna wale matajiri ama watu ambao walihusikana na kuwaleta hawa watu katika barabara kuja kuomba ili kupata pesa. Na ikifika jioni, nilikuwa nimeketi mahali fulani Bwana Spika, na nikaona mlemavu anaomba, na baada ya kuomba ukimwachia pesa, utaona baada ya dakika 2 dakika 3 kumekuja mtu amechukua hiyo pesa na yeye amebaki pale pale. Hao ni wale ambao wanaambiwa nenda ukaketi pale, ukichanga pesa kiasi fulani, jioni tutakupatia kiasi fulani. Lakini tunaona hali yao haiwezi kuendelea. Bwana Spika, nasema ingekuwa vizuri ikiwa serikali yetu itachukua uchunguzi wa maalum, uchunguzi wa kisawasawa, hususan pia vile kusema ya kwamba kwa sababu jambo hili tuko nalo hapa ndani ya bunge, kuona ya kwamba kamati hii ya mambo ya utekelezaji wa wafanyikazi na mambo ya jamii itaangalia zaidi, kama ni uchunguzi ufanywe zaidi, ili tuweze kuweka recommendations ama kuweka kulazimisha serikali kuweza kufanya kitu fulani, kama kuona ya kwamba kama kutakuwa na askari, kama kuona ya kwamba watu hawa wanaweza kuchukuliwa na kuwekwa mahali ambapo wanaweza kujipatia hali ya kujikimu kimaisha. Asante Bwana Spika.
Next statement by Senator Irungu Kang'ata. Next statement by Senator for Nandi County, Senator Samson Charage.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me indulgence. I think Senator Kang'ata will come after me, since I've been given maybe I can finish, then he can come after me.
Yes, proceed, then you will come after him.
Yes. I don't know why the former People's Majority Whip is restless today. Mr. Speaker, request for statement for malpractices of players in the energy sector, including suppliers of liquefied petroleum gas, LPGs. Mr. Speaker, sir, I raise pass warning to Standing Order 48-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Energy regarding malpractices by players in the energy sector, including suppliers of liquefied petroleum gas, LPG. In the statement, the committee should, one, and as you are aware, Mr. Speaker, the statutory body that has been authorized to regulate petroleum business is IPRA. This is according to IPRA Regulations 2019 and the Energy Act. Mr. Speaker, state why, one, the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority, which has of course been mandated by the regulations of Energy Act 2019, has failed to curb the sale of adulterated fuel and cooking gas in the market, as well as illegal filling of gas cylinders. Mr. Speaker, as you are aware, the IPRA gave a public notice of various companies that they have deemed to be banned, like City Gas Limited, Green Energy, Moa Gas Limited, Eco Energy, Top Line, Salama Gas, Fale Gas Limited, Motor Gas Limited, Kofro Gas Limited. All these companies were put in a national newspaper, Mr. Speaker, to indicate that the public to be warned. Mr. Speaker, this should explain before the committee the measures of such companies that have been put, or any other company in place by IPRA, to ensure all distributors and retailers of energy and petroleum products as registered. Number 3, elucidate on the mechanisms put in place to rid the market of counterfeit gas cylinders and the efficacy of the same mechanisms. Number 4, Mr. Speaker, spell out measures being enforced by IPRA to ensure environmental and consumer safety in the energy and petroleum sector, explain plans put in place, number 5, to ensure accessibility of affordable, and this is very important, Mr. Speaker, so because most hustlers and most Kenyans depend on these affordable energy products, including liquefied petroleum gas across the population, including the marginalized and rural areas, to ensure, Mr. Speaker, so that our people do not use firewood, and Senator Ledama will tell you, so that they don't destroy forest. We need people to use gas and protect our forest. And finally, explain why IPRA has not implemented the energy and petroleum industries players reforms, Mr. Speaker, that would have reduced the malpractices experienced in the sector. And you are aware, Mr. Speaker, that the private sector, in conclusion, Mr. Speaker, have been harassed, as part of that statement, has been harassed by Petroleum Institute of East Africa. This is a private entity which uses the DCI to arrest and close individual plants, Mr. Speaker. This undermining accessibility. In most of the cases, they present themselves as complaints in the said cases, filing applications through the advocate to deny the release of vehicles, Mr. Speaker. I think this is the final statement I want to tell the committee, that when these individuals, and they are using Petroleum Institute of East Africa, which is a private, they go and close down a particular filling plant of LPG, which are made affordable to Kenyans. They bring, Mr. Speaker, and I think the courts, the judiciary must pronounce themselves. When, for example, they get in Nandia filling gas plant, they take the vehicles and all the instruments and bring here in Pangani, I think DCI headquarters, where they keep, and I thought the case could be in Eldoret, where that jurisdiction should be there. So I hope, even as the Committee of Energy, I don't know whether Senator Ledama is part of it, should address this issue, where in Narok, you go and arrest people, take LPG vehicles and many others, and bring it to the DCI headquarters, and yet that matter should be within the jurisdiction of court. That was the additional information, Mr. Speaker, that I wanted to give to the committee. I thank you for that indulgence.
Proceed to the next statement. Senator Kangata.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order number 48, Sabbatical 1, to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on the National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations regarding the ongoing free trade agreement negotiations between Kenya and the United States of America. In response, the committee should address the following. Number 1, examine the possibility of enabling Kenyans who are trained as caregivers, nurses, and other related skills who are willing to travel to the USA to provide the stated services in Washington, Texas, and Massachusetts states, among others, where deficit in the cited areas has been empirically established. 2, outline the measures that have been put in place, if any, to ensure such Kenyans are accorded preferential treatment with regard to access to entry visas and other attendant requirements. And finally, state the measures that will put in place following these negotiations to ensure that Kenyans in general are also facilitated with regard to accessing entry visas into the USA going forward. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I was in the US the other day and I noted many Kenyans who are saying there are many job opportunities there, but they don't have a workforce. When I look at the young people in Kenya who don't have employment, I wondered, can't we use this opportunity that exists currently to compel US to admit more Kenyans into those places? There are opportunities of caregiving, nurses, and whereas in Kenya, vast majority of Kenyans have no jobs. If we can use these negotiations, we can create employment to young people in America. Thank you.
Next order.
Order number 8, the Sports Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 40 of 2021, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Sports Act to provide for the functions of county governments and for connected purposes. Order number 9, the Elections Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 42 of 2021, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Elections Act and for connected purposes. Order number 10, the Elections Amendment number 2 Bill, Senate Bills number 43 of 2021, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Elections Act and for connected purposes. Order number 11, motion, adoption of the report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the county government's cash disbursement schedule for the financial year 2021-2022 and approval of the county government's cash disbursement schedule for the financial year 2021-2022.
Chairperson, Standing Committee on Finance and Budget.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to move the following motion that the Senate adopts the report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the cash disbursement schedule for financial year 2021-2022 laid on the table of the Senate on Tuesday, 7th September 2021, and that pursuant to Section 17(7) of the Public Finance Management Act and the Standing Order 183.3, the Senate approves the county government cash disbursement schedule for the financial year 2022. Mr. Speaker, once again, is this the time when the Senate, the honorable senators of this House are called upon to execute one of our mandate. Mr. Speaker, as I progress, I wanted just to say that when we were welcoming the executive director of ILA, International Law Institute, I happen to have been a student there, and she told us that the senators are not honorable, they are distinguished. So I'm probably moving forward, as Olekina would want to say, we will be referred to as distinguished senator. So distinguished senator, Mr. Speaker, Section 17(6) and 7 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 provides that the National Treasury shall, at the beginning of every month and in any event not less than the 15th day from the commencement of the month, disperse monies to the counties, to the county governments for expenditure for the subsequent month on the basis of disbursement schedule prepared by the National Treasury and approved by the Senate. The approved disbursement schedule must be published in the Gazette notice, Mr. Speaker. The Cabinet Secretary of the National Treasury and Planning submitted county government cash disbursement schedule for the financial year 2021 to the Senate for the approval pursuant to Section 17(7) for the public of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 on 5th August 2023. Mr. Speaker, it's good to note the date of 5th August 2021, because as we'll progress, we'll see that there has been passing of the blame who is delaying the disbursement. Mr. Speaker, I want to absolve the committee and indeed the distinguished senators that we are not the cause of the delay in disbursement. Mr. Speaker, the disbursement schedule was tabled in the Senate the same day and committed to the Standing Committee of Finance and Budget pursuant to Standing Order number 183.2 of the Senate Standing Orders. The Standing Committee on Finance and Budget deliberated on the cash disbursement for the financial year 2021-2022 and considered the report of the same containing its recommendations, which include, Mr. Speaker, A, The Senate approves the county government cash disbursement as tabled on 5th August 2021. And 2, the National Treasury should transfer the total disbursement for the first 2 months of the financial year 2021-2022 within 7 days upon approval of cash disbursement. Mr. Speaker, this is very important because it looks like we have a National Treasury that does not respect law. Mr. Speaker, so it is important that Kenyans and everybody notes that the Senate today, when they adopt, we expect within 7 days upon this approval that the last 2 months disbursements be made expeditiously, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the county cash disbursement schedule is a key Senate resolution as it operates the release and transfer of approved allocation pursuant to County Allocation of Revenue Act. The preparation of schedules is informed by the basis of the National Treasury. Mr. Speaker, that is something that we all know. And the allocations in the schedule are in line with the allocation of what was negotiated of 370 billion provided, and which is provided in the County Allocation Revenue Act 2021 for disbursement to county, using that basis for equitable sharing of revenue among the county, approved by the Senate in September 2020. Mr. Speaker, the County Allocation or Revenue Bill was accented on the 29th June 2021 together with the related legislative instrument. The standing orders provide that, and this is Standing Order 183.1, not later than 15th day following the enactment of the county the allocation of bill, the Cabinet Secretary for Finance shall, and the one is shall, Mr. Speaker, submit to the Senate the cash disbursement schedule for county government, which shall be deemed to have been laid before the Senate. Welcome, Senator Murkomen. Mr. Speaker, it is in record that the Cabinet Secretary, National Treasury and Planning took about 38 days. And Mr. Speaker, I want to say again, 38 days. I saw in the press, Mr. Speaker, the National Treasury trying to blame the Senate. There is evidence, because we are House of Record, that indeed they took their time and they took that 8 days against the 15s that are put in by law. The schedule is quite simple, does not contain conditional grants, which may have involved consultation with many stakeholders and external partners. This act of delay, Mr. Speaker, is in bad faith and is infringement of our standing orders. It further adversely affects functioning of county governments, especially when disbursement of funds to counties is delayed in disguise that cash disbursement schedule has not been approved. I wish to state that the National Treasury was erroneous in delaying submission of the schedule for approval and hence delaying disbursement of funds to the county. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, Treasury was misreading to put it that delay was due to the Senate. Mr. Speaker, I have already said that, and I don't know why the National Treasury expects that we as the Senate, the discreet senators, are idle and they can always sing into their tune as and when they are ready. Mr. Speaker, we are a procedural house and we follow the law and we follow our orders. So, Mr. Speaker, I would want to ask the National Treasury to wake up and do their work as expected. Mr. Speaker, it may be noted that disbursement schedule contains only allocation from the county equity share. This is departure from the tradition where the disbursement schedules had 3 schedules. And the schedules have always been Schedule 1 on disbursement on equitable share allocation, Schedule 2 on disbursement of conditional allocation from the nationally raised revenue, and C, Mr. Speaker, on Schedule 3, disbursement of conditional grants financed by proceeds of loans and grants from the development partners. Mr. Speaker, the breakaway from the tradition is due to the High Court ruling on petition number 252 of 2016 that conditional grants to county governments are not items to be provided in the Division of Revenue Act. Consequently, Mr. Speaker, the court ruled that they cannot be provided in the County Allocation of Revenue Act. The High Court directed that such conditional grants can be issued to the county level of government under the auspices of Article 190 of the Constitution or through an agreement between the two levels of government that respects the institution and functional integrity of either level of government. Mr. Speaker, to facilitate transfer of the conditional grants to the counties, the committee has sponsored the county government grants bill, Senate Bill number 35 of 2021, pursuant to Article 190 of the Constitution. This bill was led a first time in the Senate on 6th July 2021. Consequently, Mr. Speaker, it was committed to the Standing Committee of Finance and Budget, pursuant to Standing Order number 141 of the Standing Orders. The committee has since then conducted public participation, consulted key stakeholders pursuant to Standing Order number 145 of the Standing Orders. The committee requests, Mr. Speaker, for the fast tracking of the bill to ensure counties access funds available to them as conditional grants. Mr. Speaker, in the Standing Order, the grants bill is listed as one of the bills that need to be discussed and passed by the distinguished senators. And Mr. Speaker, like we have said in the light-up, we really request that we expedite so that the counties can start expediting or using the monies that shall be allocated to them. Finally, Mr. Speaker, the committee recommends to the House that cash disbursement schedule for the financial year 2022 be approved as tabled on 5th August 2021. Mr. Speaker, with those few remarks, as I said from the start, this is a straightforward issue and it's a straightforward motion, and I beg to move and request Senator Olekina to second. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Olekina.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion, adoption of the report of the Standing Committee of Finance and Budget on the county government cash disbursement schedule for the financial year 2021-2022 and approval of the county government cash disbursement schedule for the financial year 2021 and 2022. Mr. Speaker, from the onset, I have to say I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed because Article 96 is quite clear on what our mandate as a Senate is. We're here to ensure that we send money to the counties, we oversight on those counties, and we ensure that we do the one thing which this Senate does without requiring the National Assembly, yet we are now going into the last month of the first quarter and county governments have not received money. Mr. Speaker, I note one thing, that the committee made clear observation that the Ministry of Treasury submitted the cash disbursement schedule 38 days after this honorable House had already passed the CARA. Mr. Speaker, if we have laws and we cannot be able to follow them, why do we waste taxpayers' money in enacting those legislations? Mr. Speaker, county governments are now bleeding. And when county governments bleed, it trickles down because bills are not paid. Mr. Speaker, Narok County was supposed to have received 717 million shillings for the month of July. For the month of August, they were supposed to have received 750 million shillings. And now in this month of September, they are supposed to receive 717 million shillings. They have not received a penny. Yet we expect counties to be able to work and function. We expect bills to be paid. We expect, in fact, Mr. Speaker, the reason why we have a constitution is to ensure that we deter these acts of negligence or incompetence from the executive. Article 219, Mr. Speaker, is very clear. A share of a county revenue which is raised by the national government must be transferred without undue delay. How do you explain, Mr. Speaker, the 38-day delay, which is contrary to the law? The law says 15 days after the approval of the cash disbursement schedule. This Honorable House approved the CARA on, I believe it was June 30th, before the financial year began. If really we care about our counties and we care about how people perform their roles, you know, we should actually try to adhere to observe the rule of law. Mr. Speaker, I want to commend the committee for having set a timeline on when the Ministry of Treasury should send the monies to counties. Mr. Speaker, in their report, the committee clearly indicated that within 7 days, a total of 600 and we just look at the amount. Bureau, how much was that money? 62 billion 900 million should be dispersed to the county governments. Mr. Speaker, if that money is not dispersed to the county government, there's really no reason as to why we should have county government in the first place. The national government should be doing everything. If the law is there, if Article 219 requires the money to be sent immediately, then what else are we doing? And the Treasury is refusing. In fact, Mr. Speaker, what I may want to recommend to the Committee on Finance and Budget is to summon the CS of Treasury to give specific reason as to why county governments do not have money, why they have violated the rule of law. You know, the courts have been very good to us Kenyans, I must say. They have been good to the rule of law. But really, does it have to wait for someone to go to courts and say county governments do not have money? So, Mr. Speaker, as I second this, I'm quite happy with the committee giving Treasury 7 days. I hope that the committee will give Treasury 7 days and all senators will be here. I was hoping that today all senators will be here so that as soon as we finish debating this motion, we can pass it. I hope that the whips are there mobilizing, and I can see our minority whip here. Hope they can mobilize senators who can be able to vote online. Because when I look around, if it was during the era where we don't have, sittings online, we would not have quorum to be able to continue sitting here. So, Mr. Speaker, this is something which is very, very sad. And I hope that this Senate will be able to rise to the occasion for once during this year and ensure that the monies are sent to county governments. We should not be calling governors here to come and explain to us why they have not paid bills. Yet, it is Treasury which is not sending money. It is this House which is also not putting his foot on the ground to ensure that what county are supposed to be receiving, they receive. Mr. Speaker, as I conclude, I also want to encourage and I want to call upon your office to fast track the county government grants bill to ensure that at least the county government can be able to receive the grants, because this is the first time that the cash disbursement schedule does not include the money which is sent to counties as conditional grants. If we dilly-dally and we go through the same process of bills, public participation, you go back, it comes back here, first, second reading, and then we finish here, it goes to the National Assembly, it takes another 3 or 4 months. By the time county governments will be getting their conditional grants will be June of 2022. That time, everyone will be out there busy campaigning, and all the projects which were supposed to have been completed during this financial year will not be completed. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, I would hope that your office will be able to look at the bills which are very, very important, that do not have to wait for 6 or 7 months for them to be passed. you know, we should try to ensure that now we can be able to actually burn the midnight oil so that our county governments can get not only the conditional grants, but they can also be able to get the cash, which is a share of the money which is raised by the national government. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, with those few remarks, I beg to second.
Honorable Senators, I propose the question, which is that the Senate adopts the report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the cash disbursement schedule for financial year 2021-2022, laid on the table of the Senate on Tuesday, 7 September 2021, and that pursuant to Section 17(7) of the Public Finance Management Act and Standing Order 183.3, the Senate approves the county government's cash disbursement schedule for financial year 2021-2022. Senator Professor Kindiki.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, at the outset, I want to take this opportunity to thank the committee for tabling this report on the disbursement schedule for our counties. It's unfortunate you are discussing this matter when you've just lost a colleague, Senator Prengei, and I just want to take this opportunity to condole with his family and the Ogiek community from which he came, and all the young people whom he represented across our country. We've lost a great leader. So, Speaker, we have for the last 9 years been fighting consistently for proper and timely funding of county governments in our country. It is unfortunate, Mr. Speaker, that as years go by, we are witnessing great disinterest in devolution. And I'm afraid that this House almost exclusively remains the only active defender of devolution. I say so because, Mr. Speaker, when we started this journey in 2013, county assemblies were extremely vibrant, especially through the County Assemblies Forum. The Council of Governors was extremely vibrant, especially during the leadership of Chairman Isaac Ruto, the Governor of Bomet at that time, and subsequently the Governor of Meru, my neighbor Peter Munya. But I'm afraid today, both the county assemblies across this country and the Council of Governors have abandoned the fight for funding of counties in an adequate and timely manner to this House, Mr. Speaker. You will be surprised that the chairman of Council of Governors may not have said anything about devolution that is worth talking about the last 6 months. It's shocking. In 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, each week the devolution agenda was all over the media, both social media and mainstream media across this country. And therefore, I just want to urge colleagues that we should not despair that many of the stakeholders and partners in this journey have abandoned us to the perils of centralists and people who hate the dispersal of power from one center to create 48 alternative centers of growth for this country. Mr. Speaker, sir, the funding that counties are getting
is not enough to realize the kind of development that we desire to see across this country. Yet, even that little is trickling in painful installments. So, Speaker, sir, as we speak, no county has received a penny this financial year. Shame to all those who are responsible. Shame on the Council of Governors. Shame. Because, Mr. Speaker, this country continues to experience extremely difficult challenges around socio-economic inclusion. And the only thing that could have helped this country manage the challenges of disparities in development, the challenges of rural poverty, the only thing that can help us manage these challenges and keep this country together and united is a functioning devolved system. Today, this system has been abandoned. It's in tatters. The funding comes in bits and pieces. Sometimes a whole financial year ends and the counties are owed hundreds of billions of money, and nobody really follows up or even talks on behalf of these counties, especially considering today the person who has been entrusted by the president to manage the treasury of this country is a former governor. But he is at the forefront of fighting the very counties which form the background and the basis for which he got where he is today. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to send a warning to my fellow countrymen. If we lose devolution, we will lose this country. If we cannot manage to resuscitate devolution, we will lose Kenya as we know it. The issue of devolution is the number one thing that I know helped to stabilize and pull back this country from possible crisis under the 2010 Constitution. I therefore hope that as we release this cash disbursement schedule, we are not just releasing paper figures. And I'm afraid if this is happening, even as we go into election, I'm afraid that the backlog of this disbursement is likely to be even be greater because of the commitments around election and the destruction that is bound to increase with time. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm a sad person. So sad that such a precious concept, such a precious project has been abandoned and left to the perils of those who do not think that equity and inclusivity, especially in the dispersal of power and resources across our country, is the only guarantor to a peaceful, united, and prosperous country. Mr. Speaker, sir, equally, the little money that is getting to our counties has been plundered by thieving governors who have robbed every bit of money that would have provided better rural access roads, that would have provided drugs, the most basic drugs, in our dispensaries and hospitals, and the plunder continues unabated. The drama around arresting governors every 6 months or every few months, arraigning them in court, and then suddenly the case just goes quiet. That drama has now become an old movie. We are unable to prevent and combat graft at the counties. The robbery that is happening in our counties is just appalling. They steal drugs, they steal roads, they steal masks, they steal anything that can be stolen. They have eaten anything that can be eaten, including money meant for mortuaries to preserve dead bodies. It has been eaten by greedy men and women who are supposed to be custodians of money for counties, Mr. Speaker. It's so sad. Yet, we will not lose hope. We'll keep on fighting for devolution because we believe the future of our country is hinged on the success of devolution. Mr. Speaker, sir, as we go towards the general election, this being an election year, I am looking forward to see the policy statements of political parties around this issue of devolution. And I want to make a personal commitment as an individual citizen and also as the Senator of Tharaka Nithi. The party that supports best protection and the realization of the aspirations of devolution is the party that we must support and build. I am therefore looking forward that even in the presidential debates that we're going to have next year, we must ensure that we look for champions, new champions of devolution, new actors who can help us drive the devolution agenda to the next level. Mr. Speaker, sir, I support this motion. I urge for a speedy release of all the arrears of county funds that are being held illegally by the National Treasury with immediate effect. And I believe, Mr. Speaker, if it was in the old days when you as truly was the majority leader, there would be a case in court right now in the Supreme Court to force the National Treasury to release money. And I'm just wondering, where are the leaders of the government side? Where are the leaders of the opposition side? What are they doing in this town? Coming here to read mundane statements when the counties of Kenya have not received money for July, August, September, and most possibly they will not receive even in October and November. Shame. This is something that should have taken us to the Supreme Court to force these mandarins to release county funds. Mr. Speaker, I support.
Very short time wewe kumharibia familia yake. So jambo la kununua nyumba is not a big deal for him.
I'm not up for your stupid silly games, wakili. Kwani ni mtoto wangu? Hata akaenda nyumba za wazee mimi sijali, ama wewe wajali? Ameenda kwa boyfriend yake. Wazimu wa nyumba umemchokesha.
Hawa watu ukiwapatia nafasi watakupanda kichwani na mambo yako yote yataharibika. Ndio maana inabidi unawafuga kama mbuzi.
Is dangerous. He is my father's enemy.
Over my dead body.
mtoto akiongezeka sopoa. Menshika kili na mwili mzima umenikomoa. Haya naga siri hata uyaficha yatajitoa. Leo nakiri ni kuonapo moyo wangu napoa. Is your body from your mama? Is your body from your mama? Are those your eyes from your papa? Those your eyes from your papa? Sio siri mimi nimekufili cause umenikili woman. Dakika mbili umeniathiri siwezi subiri. I just wanna take you home. I just wanna take you home with me. I just wanna take you home. Oh, I just wanna take you home with me. 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 Take you home. Oh, take you home. Oh yeah. Umependeza kweli, vile umevaa vava. Shepu laki kweli, vile umejaa jaja. Ukishake your body, unanipa midadi. Can I be your daddy? Oh, dogo mdogo, kifuani dodo, zikila nazi logo. Unanipa ligandisho, oh, ligandisho. Na mimi nitakugandama paka mwisho, oh, paka mwisho. Is your body from your mama? Is your body from your mama? Are those your eyes from your papa? Those your eyes from your papa? Sio siri mimi nimekufili cause umenikili woman. Dakika mbili umeniathiri siwezi subiri. I just wanna take you home. I just wanna take you home with me. I just wanna take you home. I just wanna take you home with me. Wakijora ndena juu kinyao kiachana kiugeri. Tena mbesa siya maju tokarionge kadageri. Ndiwa gotonya ku ninge bembo ndambara. Wata kinyamaru kine siento kangara. Ene na guay mita kelba mwande. Kumande mwanka goro jakan kuigwa kengwete. Ongwata muere ma ontonga tongana. Nigwa jasi mama. Ongwata muere ma ontonga tongana. Nigwa jasi mama. Cuenta mamá, tiro y hombro quiero más. Yo quiero un enquere de baigo y guindí. Maprema, wikegaro, hombre ora wendete. Digo agotoña ku, ninguém bien bondambara. Wata kinyamaru, tuine siento kangara. Ene na guay Vita que va mwande. Kumande mwanka goro jakan kuigwa kengwete. Ongwata muere ma ontonga tongana. Nigwa jasi mama. Ongwata muere ma ontonga tongana. Nigwa jasi mama.
Penzi lako mzani alipimiki. Waifu material so hakiki. Wengine mawe wendo keki. Niliwapita kwa kasi kwako breki. Kona miko nawe tupateni kwengine, tandika tulale, bandika zibane, niteke nideke, waseme wege nimerogwa, nibebe niogeshe. Nobody like you, uzuri wako. Nobody like you, uzuri wako. Kuna wakati mina wish tuwe wote dunia hii na kesho peponi, walai hukumis nikiwa kitandani na wewe jikoni, miguu pancha kwa usendagi wala sisogagi, ukitajwa moyo udunda na mwili usisimka, ninawe pacha, ona tunaendana hadi tunafanana, usije niacha. Hey, hey. Niteke nideke, waseme wege nimerogwa, nibebe niogeshe. Nobody like you, uzuri wako. Nobody like you, uzuri wako. Juju, hey, baby do me juju, zuzuzu, hey, mi kwako zuzu, juju, mama juju, baby do me juju, zuzu, hey, mi kwako zuzu, ya juju, mama juju, do me juju.
Chokakahora, no tige gama. Chokakahora, niki yura shora. Chokakahora, no tige gama. No kwenyenga no gutige ogefogota. Okuwagatade mwana, we kareke fuana, unajionanga kajanja, tukuyalea si ya jana, with another kasichana. I hope mone ya heo horo di mudo agatempa, oikaragyo ya tere, I can soneka proper, never get a this border, shokera nyugodora, tangera wite soja, tangera nige kura, ikau. Chokakahora, no tige gama. Chokakahora, niki yura shora. Chokakahora, no tige gama. No kwenyenga no gutige ogefogota. Pereka huko, gaiti tioragya na moha dikana huko. What say you can get in a deswe kyare kirato. Sachare you can get in a deswe kyare kirato. Good times brought me here, doimbira nyone dunia. Uta hutia my dear, uta hutia denavia. Chokakahora, no tiga gama. Chokakahora, niki yura shora. Chokakahora, no tige gama. No kwenyenga no gutige ogefogota.
fete beremete tuthuri tofesha ne jebete osmaide tiko majegeke makenyane keyoru kareke keiho ine keiho nimekuja kuhanja na zero munju minji ndendero odhero African benga na mindi otero
tunakuorota nikigiura shogoza atekevuana bad manners korea shiakia chairman inside to baby skin tight again they still mine mafichoni exile neither here nor there niko mobile
jokakahora notigagama jokakahora nikigiura shogoza jokakahora notigagama
ukitaka wale toka Nairobi ukitaka wale toka pwani yale mtoka vitongojini cha kuana usiongope usiongope wanasemaga haya vihua mimi na Bogi tumetua leta vinywaji vya kishua brandi zetu wanajua leo kuna form kuna hela huko kume chrome kama jela piga zungusha vela tuko na maodi na makwela ukitaka wale toka Nairobi ukitaka wale toka pwani yale mtoka vitongojini cha kuana usiongope usiongope nataka ila tutawapa joto switch your cameras on kuja tupige photo tumejiandaa sawa tupo fiti itaweta lukutiki we do it big wacha tupewe tunajipa sherehe shida zote tupa kule wacha drinks imwagike leo kuna form kuna hela